And then there was one race left to decide who competes for the 2023 NASCAR Cup Series Championship. The site, same place it all started, Daytona International Speedway. One spot up for grabs, over 400 chaos-filled miles. Time to lock in the Cup Series playoff field under the lights at the World Center of Racing.
Daytona, one shot, one last chance before the field is set for the 2023 playoffs. After tiptoeing through the last two road course races, Bubba Wallace remains above the cut line.
That's unbelievable drive.
With a 32-point cushion over rookie Ty Gibbs. But anything can happen, and it often does.
Oh, no! Oh, my God!
When these fire-breathing chariots are packed together, the pressure intensifies. Now, the fight at the front is where everyone below the cut line will want to be. A.J. Allmendinger, he says it's either crash or win. And it's that simple.
Butter.
And after 7 consecutive playoff seasons, Chase Elliott must win to get in. Believe me, the pressure is real.
Just come to us whenever you can.
And Dillon drove through a maze of crashing cars.
Keep coming, keep coming.
Going from 16th to 1st to find a seat at the playoff table. You just never know what'll happen on the high banks of Daytona.
And with that, welcome everyone to Countdown to Green, presented by Sonic, one of the biggest races of the year, the end of the regular season, and the final shot at the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs for some of the biggest names in the sport. The Peacock Pit Box located all the way at the end of pit road in pit stall number 1, along with the Hall of Famer Dale Jarrett, Kyle Petty, and Daytona 500 winning team owner Brad Daugherty. We're going 4 wide on the pit box here this weekend. DJ, an entire year's worth of work comes down to one race. What is the pressure like on those bubble drivers?
It's immense. I mean, these drivers are facing situations that they haven't been in, a lot of them, before. It's Daytona. That's enough pressure in itself. You're talking about securing the last playoff spot. Well, Tyler Reddick said that physically takes years off of your life. Yeah. So you talk about this pressure. It could be overwhelming for some. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, talking about that pressure, and with this race car and this racetrack being a little bit slicker than we've seen in the past, there's no riding tonight. You don't get to pick where you're going to be. You have to go forward. That's the only place to be to determine your fate. You have to charge hard. It's going to be interesting early on in this race.
So, Kyle, because the race is taking place at Daytona, does that make the pressure more intense?
Yes, because it's Daytona, and everybody wants to win at
Yes,
Daytona.
sir.
Tonight, fans are going to love this because of the chaos and the unpredictability. Drivers are going to hate Daytona because of the chaos and the unpredictability. It's going to be a great night.
Well, Kyle mentioned it. Daytona known for its unpredictable races. Case in point, this year's Daytona 500, where Ricky Stenhouse Jr. came into the race with odds of 33-1, but wound up in victory lane.
I think for me in my career, I needed a big win like that.
History about to be made. 1 lap to go in the Daytona 500. The white flag is in the air. This will make it official.
Felt like this race team needed a big win like that.
Oh, they're in the wall. The entire pack blows up.
It is official. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has won the Daytona 500.
Nothing like winning the Daytona 500.
Daytona 500, baby. Let's go, boys.
It was huge for my career, something that, you know, I needed to kind of boost myself back up.
Well, Ricky, winning the Daytona 500 had to be a huge moment in your career, but you're really good here. I want to know why.
Good driving race cars. I think, you know, for me, I feel like in my Nationwide Series career, Xfinity career, I didn't really like the super speedways that much, but as we got into the Cup Series, I felt like I really started learning a lot, raced a lot with this guy, and felt like I learned a lot there, not to leave the right rear quarter panel open for him to jump to the outside on entry of the corner, and you know, really just, you know, keep your momentum going. But good driving race cars definitely helps, especially this summer race.
Yeah, this summer race, there's a lot of different agendas with everybody trying to figure out their way into the playoffs. You don't have to worry about that, but what is your agenda?
For us, I mean, we would like to get 5 bonus points at the end of the night. You know, go back to victory lane. It'd be nice to sweep the races here in 2023. So our Intamins Camaro didn't qualify very good, which we didn't for the 500 either. But I felt like our car will race really well and handle really well. And, yeah, get as many points as we can and see if we can take those points to the playoffs.
Well, Marty, you can tell you're a cohort up there, Mr. Doherty. This guy right here is ready to go get it done.
I'm glad you brought up the owner. Show us the bling.
Oh, there it is. My youngest daughter asked me, she says, when are you going to take that thing off? I said, it took me 35 years to put it on. It ain't coming off.
The Daytona 500 winning ring for Brad Daugherty. So just to prove everybody's in the mix tonight,
yes,
Kyle.
Everybody.
17 different drivers could win and put themselves in the playoffs. Who could be that surprise driver in your mind this evening?
For me, Eric Jones. Half of the drafting races, speedway races that he's run in his career, he's finished in the top 15. He won here in 2018. Listen, you guys may be surprised if he wins, but I won't be surprised if he wins.
Yeah, and it's someone that's already in the playoffs for me, and that's Brad Keselowski. He's won 7 times on this style of racetrack, but he's got an 87, race winless streak. This team is coming. I think Brad could be strong tonight.
Yeah, I'm going with Harrison Burton. We've seen him lead the races here at Daytona in this car. I think that he has the talent. What better time for him to get his first career win, get his first playoff spot, and the Wood Brothers' 100th win.
Wow. That would be the definition of a good day to have a good day for Harrison Burton. Well, Daytona Beach, Florida, the birthplace of NASCAR. Of course, the races used to be held on the beach. Then in 1959, Big Bill France had the idea to build a 2.5-mile super speedway. All the great names in motorsports have won here, like Petty, Jarrett, Earnhardt, Foyt, and Andretti. Of course, the fight in 1979, it all went down at the World Center of Racing. The official app of NASCAR Tracks has the latest race and event information from all your favorite tracks. Search NASCAR Tracks in the App Store and download for free.
Today it was flawless. I don't know if it was dominant, but it felt pretty dominant to me.
What a race car we had today.
Get to go to Victory Lane 2 weeks in a row, so that's pretty awesome. They can boo my rock out here in a few years.
This is incredible.
Yeah, boys!
Hell yeah, attaboy.
Yes! Hell yeah, boys!
It's been an eventful regular season, and it all wraps up tonight. Here's what's on the menu presented by Sonic. Earlier today, Kurt Busch announced his official retirement from racing. Kurt saying his doctors think it would be just too tough to get back to 100%. Chase Briscoe starts on the pole for the race tonight. All 4 Stewart-Haas cars start in the top 10. And this is it. A year's worth of work comes down to the final race of the regular season for the NASCAR Cup Series. Brad, it's kind of shocking to see with just 1 spot left open. There are some big names that will not make the playoffs.
Yeah, it's really incredible. I mean, and you can really start with Bubba Wallace. I know he's in right now, and there's a good chance that he wins tonight or has an opportunity to get it done in the first stages. But look at some of these names like Alex Bowman, Chase Elliott, Daniel Suarez, even A.J. Allmendinger, who we expect a lot of. We expect him to score so many points on the road courses. It hasn't been done. And Ty Gibbs, even though he's still in the learning process, he's been fast, and we expect a lot. So it's really shocking.
Let's hear from 2 of the drivers who will be in the middle of the storm all night, starting with Daniel Suarez, who's with Dave Burns.
Oh, Marty, Daniel Suarez knows the math can work out, but really the only way to make that happen is to just about win. So with only one task in mind, has it been a less stressful week?
I mean, honestly, to me, it's just like any other week. You know, here in Daytona Super Speedway, anything can happen, you know? There is so many different factors and so many things that can go right or so many things that can go wrong. So we just have to control what we can control, execute, do a good job with the strategy, do a good job saving fuel, do a good job with the pit stops, and see how things play out. You know, I feel like the last 2 years on this summer Daytona race, we've been in contention for the win, coming to the last lap. Last time here when it started raining, and 2 years ago as well in the back straightaway. So I feel like our chances are pretty good.
The record has been good for Daniel. Jeff Burton and Dale Jr., he hopes it's good for him tonight.
Thanks, Dave. We're down here at the driver's intros with Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott has to win this race to get in the playoffs. Chase, one of the things that we're noticing this weekend, and every time we come to Daytona, is this track is wearing out just a little bit. I know we've not had any practice. Watching the Xfinity race last night and listening to some of those drivers, watching some of the cars in Cup qualifying, this track looks a little slicker this time.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely aging and it's starting to lose some of the color that it had to it for a long time. So, I mean, personally, I think that's a good thing for the racing here. I was a huge fan of of what the racing was prior to the repave. As a fan, I wasn't driving then, but it looked like a lot of fun. So, yeah, obviously we have a big opportunity ahead for us. You know, we've had a lot of opportunities over the course of the last few months that we haven't been able to take advantage of. So I hope we can take advantage of this one. You know, I feel like we've been showing up prepared every week. Just need to have it go our way.
Well, you're obviously really good at this type of racing. So going into the night, knowing the track's going to be slick and everything that's on the line, tell us a few things that you know you're going to have to execute on tonight to make this happen.
Well, for me personally, I feel like the biggest thing with speedway racing is trying to establish yourself as that guy, that car. And I think your competitors always recognize who that is in the field, the person that's making a lane go forward, the guy who's making smart decisions but making progress. And I think when you are able to categorize yourself in that group, you're just bettering your odds, because everybody wants to work with you. Everybody wants to be in the lane that you're in. And when you have numbers like that, it typically goes in your favor. And I think that's where you've seen a lot of consistent finishers over the last 3 or 4 years. So would like to establish ourselves as being that car and that driver, and obviously being around to the end. You know, having a shot is always the key, so hopefully we can do that.
Well, Marty, we always love to see our stars score on the final drive to win the game. That could be Chase Elliott tonight.
Yeah, Junior, it would be a walk-off win for Chase Elliott if he could pull it off. We did ask Bubba Wallace for a pre-race interview. He declined that request. But, Brad, you've talked to him a few times today. What's his mindset coming into the biggest race of his career?
Yeah, you know, Bubba is anxious about tonight as well. We would expect that. And it's been interesting to watch, you know, this young man over this past year. You know, there was a lot of expectations coming in. We thought they'd maybe win a couple of races. They didn't do that. But over the last 7-8 races, they've gone consistently up. And I think one of the things that has to be recognized is the role that Booty Barker has played in all of that. You know, you have an owner in Michael Jordan who's probably one of the most viscerally engaged competitors to ever walk the face of the earth. So they keep him away from Bubba from the standpoint of trying to encourage him, because Bubba, as we know, he struggles a little bit with the psychological side of being competitive. The week in and the week out and the minutia. He hyper-focuses on some of that stuff. So Booty has stepped in, and he's become that voice of reason. And he's helped Bubba get to this point to where tonight, as I told Bubba today, all you got to do is be Bubba Wallace tonight, and that will be good enough.
So, DJ, he is known as a very aggressive super speedway racer. Does he need to change that mindset tonight and protect those points?
No, can't change that. Matter of fact, that's what he has to do. You know, there is a way that by the end of stage 2, he could have it to where he would be the last person. Nobody else could get in on points if he can score some stage points and get far enough ahead. That would allow him to do whatever he needs to do in the third stage. If that means there's a lot of drivers up there trying to win, he could go for that win.
Yeah. Kyle, so many different agendas in the race tonight. Junior mentioned that. So many big names not in as well. How will that affect how the race plays out?
Well, first, understatement of the year goes to Brad Daugherty. Bubba Wallace is anxious.
Yes.
Okay? That's an understatement. Let me go ahead and say that. And it's hard to say how they're all going to play out. Hendrick has two cars outside the playoffs. Gibbs has one. Trackhouse has one. SHR has 3 Fords outside. How do these people help each other? How do you help a guy that's out when there's only one spot? Yeah. And we saw it last night in the Xfinity race when our own Parker Kligerman put his car in position to win, and a teammate of a car that's competing for those final spots in the Xfinity series wouldn't help him, would not help him get where he needed to be.
When we come back, the guys tell us who they think will be in and who will be out when the night is over. 17 drivers could win their way in with the win here at Daytona and be a part of the playoffs. Plus, Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Jeff Burton tell us how they think the bubble drivers will manage the last race of the regular season. That's all next. Countdown to Green is brought to you by Sonic. Sonic. And by Coke Zero Sugar. Is it the best Coke ever?
Victory Lane in Daytona, this is a special place.
Thank you, Jesus, baby! Yes!
That's the best Victory Lane feeling, is being in Daytona.
Way to get it done, boys. Way to get it done. Daytona 500! Holy crap!
It's Austin Dillon who wins at Daytona.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has won the Daytona 500.
Let's go, boys! Woo!
Jeff, winning at Daytona is on every driver's list when you make it into the NASCAR Cup Series, and we're going to talk about a little bit of how they're going to get that done tonight. I think one of the things that's going to be important is to have people around you that are willing to help you, and that is teammates. We're standing right here with Chris Buescher, Brad Keselowski. You know that these two cars, if they can, will work together and try to control this field, but there's a lot of other teammates throughout this lineup that want to do the same thing.
Yeah, it's confusing because some of these guys, think Kevin Harvick, for example, who's he going to push? He's got 3 teammates all got to win to get in the race. Manufacturers, teams, everybody. Who do you pick? Somebody's going to be left out. When this night's over, somebody's going to come down this pit road and be mad at their teammate because they didn't push them and they needed to win this race and they helped somebody else win.
Yeah, it's not as straightforward, Marty, as the Daytona 500. This race with the playoff implications and everything else, everyone on such different agendas, there's a lot to be thinking about on that last lap.
Junior, so many unknowns, so much on the line, including the regular season championship. DJ, we haven't even talked about that yet.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, so you're going to might ask, why all these drivers racing so hard through the first couple of stages tonight? Well, we're just going to look. If you'll take a look from 6th back to 12th, there's a 14-point separation. Now, they get playoff points, bonuses, if they finish in the top 10. 11th and 12th pays nothing, so they're going to be racing hard, trying to get any bonus points they possibly can to carry through the playoffs.
Okay, time to put your prediction down and eat. Kyle, who gets the final playoff spot tonight?
Big-time players step up in big moments. This is a big moment for Bubba Wallace. He owns that 16th place. Come and get it.
Yeah, Bubba Wallace for me as well. They've been consistent the last half of the season. He's got a fast race car tonight. He is really good here. No reason he doesn't challenge for a win tonight.
Well, you say big-time players. I assume maybe you were talking about a champion. And the champion that's battling for this is Chase Elliott. Tonight, he has to show that heart of a champion.
Well, when we come back, time for tonight's pre-race ceremonies as we get closer to the green flag and setting the field for the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. Brad Keselowski is already in, but as Brad mentioned, he didn't have the win yet. Ross Chastain's in right now. No pressure on the one team, but there's a lot of pressure throughout that grid right now to see who can make the playoffs. It'll all go down tonight at Daytona. Back at the World Center of Racing, Daytona International Speedway, where the action tonight promises to be wild. One race, one spot open in the 2023 NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. Brad, you said you felt like Bubba Wallace was anxious. You're a professional athlete. Once he puts the helmet on, does that go away?
Oh, absolutely. It's great. It's a great thing he's anxious. That means he cares. But once that helmet's clipped on and they start racing, it's all gone. He'll be going as hard as he can go.
Yeah, and, you know, I'm looking at Chase Elliott right here. He told Jeff Burton and Dale Jr. that he planned to lead this pack. That's the Dale Jr. and Dale Sr. way of doing it. You get people to follow, you got a fast car.
Yeah. Oh, and listen, I'm going to say this. The best laid plans of mice and men. You can plan all you want to, baby. It's chaos. It's unpredictability.
How many times have you had a plan at Daytona and it never came to fruition?
Never.
But you talked about it all week long. That could come down tonight to who makes the playoffs and who does not. Time for pre-race ceremonies from the World Center of Racing.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we ask that you please rise as you are able and remove your hats as a Crescent City High School color guard presents our nation's colors. Here to offer today's invocation, please welcome from Advent Health, Sam Mercado.
Good evening, Daytona. Join me as we ask for God's presence in this place. Almighty God, we gather here today for a day of recreation and fun. We pray for your protection over the drivers, crews, fans, and all those who made this event possible. We ask for blessings over our racing community, our military, first responders, and all those who serve. And we pray for your presence to be felt in this place throughout our country and world. We ask these things in your holy name. Amen.
Here to perform our national anthem, please welcome Kelly Kwiatek.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars as we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free? And the home of the brave.
Boy, A+ on the anthem. More than 8,000 miles of racing over 27 weeks. All comes down to this. Time to set the Cup Series playoff field next on NBC Sports and Peacock.
Crossing county lines just to make my name in the city. I worked for this for all these years and I wouldn't break or back down. I fought through all my fears and all of my frustrations. See the light is getting clear. I know I'm taking it now. It's my time. I'm taking it now.
Marty just gave us all the numbers as far as what has happened in this regular season up to this point, but it comes down to this one race. We take a look at the playoff standings. Everyone in yellow, they're locked in. There's that 1/16th spot that is still available. 3 of them have the opportunity to point their way in, but Steve, if they win, they can get in.
25 weeks ago, 25 races ago on this same stage, we started this season, and it was Ricky Stenhouse Jr. to put his name in yellow first. Here we are now to add one more name, and the list is impressive. Look at the drivers. A win and you get in. These are drivers that have done it before. Cindric, a 500 champ. Austin Dillon, just a year ago. You don't have to go far down this list to find winners at this racetrack.
All right, in the middle of that list, you see A.J. Allmendinger. Parker Kligerman, tell me why A.J. Allmendinger can win this race.
Well, Rick, if you were to listen to him speak in the media this week, you wouldn't think he has much of a chance. He said, I hate this type of racing, but that doesn't mean he's not good at it. He often finds himself up at the front at the end of these super speedway races because he said, I have a simple strategy. By about halfway, I have to be going forward. I have to have that positive momentum to put myself up front and then just get to that white flag with a chance, Dave.
Parker, Daniel Suarez reminded us what can happen at Daytona just a couple of minutes ago. Anything. And he needs the anything bad not to happen to him early and in front of him because he starts mid-pack, 22nd on the grid to start today. We know Daniel Suarez can win here. He's been close the last couple of times they've raced here, Marty, and it could be tonight to get him into the playoffs.
Well, Dave, Chase Elliott has never won at Daytona. He has finished second in this race or here at Daytona twice. Changing that stat tonight would put him into the 2023 Cup Series playoffs. And I love what he told Dale Jr. and Jeff Burton earlier. I have to be that guy. I have to be the one that shows everybody, follow me. I can lead the pack. That is not normally how Chase Elliott runs a super speedway race. It's out of their comfort zone, but expect Chase Elliott to be extremely aggressive tonight on the track, and also Alan Gustafson to be extremely aggressive on pit road to get Chase Elliott in victory lane and in the playoffs. Let's get the engines cranked in Daytona.
And now, race fans, here to say the most famous words in motorsports. Please welcome Florida Atlantic University men's basketball head coach Dusty May.
Daytona, let's make some noise! Drivers, start
in 5th place. He can point his way in. He's 32 points back, chasing this man right here, Bubba Wallace, who starts 4th.
Check out the top 3. There's about 15 guys in the same position as these guys. Points mean absolutely nothing. You got to win this race if you want to get to the playoffs.
And it is an incredible racetrack. Winning at Daytona can change your career, whether it's the Daytona 500 or this race right here at the World Center of Racing. And when we come back from the break, we're going to have a green flag to get it started. Daytona, one shot, one last chance before the field is set for the 2023 playoffs. After tiptoeing through the last 2 road course races, Bubba Wallace remains above the cut line.
That's unbelievable drive.
With a 32-point cushion over rookie Ty Gibbs. But anything can happen, and it often does.
Oh, no! Oh, my God!
When these fire-breathing chariots are packed together, the pressure intensifies. Now, the fight at the front is where everyone below the cut line will want to be. A.J. Allmendinger, he says it's either crash or win. And it's that simple. And after 7 consecutive playoff seasons, Chase Elliott must win to get in. Believe me, the pressure is real.
Just come to us whenever you can. All information.
Elliott said it's like going to Vegas and having to hit the nearest slot machine for the jackpot.
Wrecking the top. Check up.
But sometimes a driver can flop aces at this race.
Oh, the field is coming apart! Literally the whole field.
Just last year, Austin Dillon drove through a maze of crashing cars.
Keep coming.
Going from 16th to 1st to find a seat at the playoff table. You just never know what'll happen on the high banks of Daytona.
And we are about to find out 160 laps in front of these drivers as they take on Daytona International Speedway. It's NASCAR Cup Series racing. The Coke Zero Sugar 400. Racing under the lights at the World Center of Racing. Let's talk to the guy who will bring the field to the green flag. Starting up front is Chase Briscoe. Steve, get him on the radio.
All right, let's see if we can dial up Chase. Hey, Chase, it's the guys in the NBC booth. You got a copy? I'm going to jump in one more time here. Hey, Chase, it's the NBC booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
10-4, sorry. Heard you on the radio there. All right. Here it is, race 26, everything on the line. You're starting in the best position with a very fast Ford, but 3 teammates in the same situation. How do you manage the night?
Yeah, I think it just comes down to execute first and foremost. Definitely got a fast magnification on your Ford, so we got a great starting position. Got to try to keep it up here, though. So I feel like with this new car, track position more important than ever. So just being extremely aggressive, something that I probably haven't done a very good job of in the Cup Series on super speedways. So just got to try to maintain up here, and like I said, just execute the best of our ability. At the end of the night, if it's enough, it'll be enough. So yeah, looking forward to kind of Game 7 moments. Try to knock one out of the park as well tonight. So yeah, got a long way to go though, but definitely got to get started by here.
Well, I love the idea. I love the concept. Tell the fans, how do you prepare? Not the studying, but mentally. How do you get prepared to strap in and go 200 miles an hour against 39 other competitors at this racetrack?
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, you got to risk a lot here to kind of be rewarded, but probably when you risk a lot, much to go, obviously. So, you know, for me, I probably didn't do the best job early on in my career. Like I was just saying, even in my Cup career, just coming here and kind of embracing what it is and the style of racing. And honestly, just talked to Dale Jr., and he kind of changed my whole outlook on it. Just as always being aggressive, take every run you can, and really started to enjoy the style of racing. So just got to get back to kind of that aggressive self like I was in the Xfinity Series on the super speedways, and hopefully can end up front tonight.
Well, I think you asked the right guy. He'd be a good one to listen to. Good luck. The fans will be cheering you on. We appreciate you taking the time here right before the green flag.
Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate it. Should be a fun one to watch.
Yeah, definitely go to a guy who's won 4 times here at this racetrack in the Cup Series, with Dale Earnhardt Jr. giving him some advice. And he had mentioned, and you talked about teammates, that he's fighting for that one spot. What about Eric Almirola, Parker?
And he comes into this race 25th in points, so he's in a must-win position to get to the playoffs. But it's interesting you brought up the mental side of super speedway racing, because that is the advantage that Aric Almirola brings to these races. He embraces this type of racing. And speaking to his crew chief, Drew Blickensturfer, he said that's our advantage. He embraces it. He looks forward to these races, and that has made him successful. Of 2 wins at super speedways, he said he's almost a leader for our organization in how to approach these races. We know we want to race aggressively. We want to keep the car up front, and it's not only to stay up front, but it's to prove to all the other competitors we're a car that's fast and that you can push, and that's what you need to go win these races, Dave.
And Parker, it's a must-win situation for Alex Bowman. One of the advantages that he has at Hendrick Motorsports is senior leadership. Don't forget that Jeff Gordon is a part of that. And when I talked to Blake Harris, his crew chief, earlier today, he said that Jeff definitely had more positive, more encouraging, not necessarily a pep talk, but a way of really trying to get this 48 team motivated and the teams around him to help get Alex Bowman into the playoffs. A good pep talk is never a bad thing, Marty, but coming from Jeff Gordon, you listen.
Yeah, Dave, coming in plus 32 above the cut line and qualifying 4th. You would think Bubba Wallace could maybe play it conservative tonight, protect those points. That will not be the case for the 23. Bubba's always been known to be very aggressive at super speedway racing. Booty Barker, his crew chief, told me this morning, he said, we're not going to change that. We're not going to change who we are as a race team. In fact, in his final message to Bubba earlier today, Booty told him, I don't want you to have the mentality that someone needs to come take it from us. I want you to have the mentality tonight, you're going to go take it from everybody else. You deserve this spot in the playoffs. We are going to do this by night's end.
And Bubba, one that anxiety has always been an issue with him and the biggest stage. And he has, you know, a tough challenge in front of him, but I believe he's going to rise to it. Scott Dixon actually gave him some words of wisdom. So he's trying to bank on those as well. Let's take a look at our starting grid, brought to you by Coke Zero Sugar. Up front, drivers that have to win to make the playoffs: Chase Briscoe, Aric Almirola, Harrison Burton. Then Bubba Wallace, Ty Gibbs, 2 drivers that can get in based on points.
Well, there's so much on the line for the playoff drivers. You have Larson and Harvick. How about row 6? All of RFK. Buescher won 2 of the last 4 races in the series. His teammate, Brad Keselowski, his owner, Brad Keselowski, still looking for that first win in the car he owns.
Row 7, Martin Truex Jr. fighting for the regular season championship, which could be determined and will be determined tonight. Suarez, the other driver, points-wise, mathematically, he can get in there, but a lot of things have to happen for that to work out for him.
Yeah, at the bottom of Josh Berry, who's in the 42 car. We've seen him in that some. How about Ricky Stenhouse Jr., the Daytona 500 champ? Always great to return, knowing you're in the playoffs, back to the scene of the biggest win of his career.
And McDowell at the bottom of that list will start in row 20. All right, so you've got the pressure of winning at the World Center of Racing. Let's bring in Dale Jarrett, a guy who has won 3 Daytona 500s right here at this venue. What is the mentality you have to have, DJ, to get the win here with such pressure?
You know, Rick, it's one of the greatest honors that you'll have if you're in NASCAR racing as a driver, to race here and then to win here, visit Victory Lane. But it's the most stressful night of racing that you'll ever go through. It's just incredible that it never eases up for you as a driver. It's a lot of fun, but you have to be willing to take chances you might not at other places if you want to visit Victory Lane here, which is one of the most special moments that you'll ever have. You know, and I've said for a long time that Daytona makes incredible drivers do extraordinary things. Who's going to be that best driver tonight and go to Victory Lane and could get them a playoff spot?
Well, we go from the GOAT here at Daytona in DJ to the guy pacing the field out here. Yes, that's Ricky Carmichael, the GOAT of motocross right there. Such an amazing two-wheeler, and not only two-wheeler, but he dabbled in the truck series as well as the Xfinity series, and so he knows that maybe Briscoe might have a little fun with him. a little bump draft in there here at Daytona.
Talent recognizes talent, and I got to go to the Supercross race in Nashville and be on the broadcast with Ricky, and he is first class, resume unbelievable. Think his record, this is a little up, 31-0. The man won 31 straight races. Young man Jet Lawrence right now, 21-0, working on 2.
He won this
today.
Afternoon,
okay,
yes.
22-0 for Jet Lawrence, so it's interesting.
But it's great to have Ricky Carmichael here, a Florida native, pacing the field at Daytona for this, the final race of the regular season. 1 spot available. Still in the playoffs. And again, the regular season championship up for grabs. 2 by 2, they come through the start zone. Chase Briscoe, Eric Almirola, green flags in the air.
Well done. Good plan of attack early from the 2 SHR Fords of the 14 of Briscoe and the 10, the white and black car of Eric Almirola, second car on the inside.
Steve, we saw a faster lap than qualifying at the Daytona 500. Will we see increased speeds with the pack now? They've done some work throughout the year on this package to try to get it as best they can and as much speed as they can as we ride along with the Advanced Auto Parts camera for Ryan Blaney.
Yeah, the speeds are going to be unbelievably high. The cars are better. Everything's on the line. The risk will be higher. As the sun sets and the lights come on, grip will go up, which will allow these drivers and crew chiefs to work on speed more than handling.
Still side by side for that top spot. Again on the inside, the 14 of Chase Briscoe. And on his outside now, Bubba Wallace fighting up there for that second spot. Almirola pushing Briscoe now, and those two surge ahead.
In rules here at Daytona, you see the double yellow line. You can't go below that, but that's really it. Push as much as you want, connect as much as you want. Any way you can help the car in front of you move forward is acceptable.
You're going to hear the word momentum a lot. The outside line gaining some momentum now. We'll see if Bubba Wallace can clear that 14. Riley Herbst in the 36 pushing Bubba Wallace right now. Riley Herbst, a full-time Xfinity Series driver, but a great qualifying effort. We'll see how good of a pusher he is up front.
You see these teammates, Stewart-Haas teammates pushing each other. 10 car, Eric Almirola, big push to Briscoe. That helped clear that inside line.
So much energy on that inside line now as 4 cars have cleared the outside line.
Gibbs jumps up in front of Bubba Wallace right there. 2 Toyotas trying to work together to get that outside line going again.
Marty.
Rick, it was a terrific Friday for Stewart-Haas Racing for 2 cars up front right now. A pretty good Saturday as well, but it did not start well for Ryan Preece. He qualified in the top 10, and he said he had no power steering on the pace laps. The plan was for Stewart-Haas and all 4 of their cars to work together tonight. So, Steve, how do they need to change that plan now that Preece is all the way at the back in 38th after qualifying in the top 10?
Well, inform your drivers about the issue. Let them know that plan is still in place if Preece can get up there, but you can't manufacture it. It has to be patience. Although you see right here, patience being tested as 2 wide is turned into 3 wide.
Rarely do we see 3 wide with the next gen car at Talladega and Daytona. It's typically just 2 lanes. Have to see how this kind of works out.
Blaney jumped up there trying to recruit some people to come with him. Let's see what happens behind him. Right now, nobody wants to go. Here comes the teammate, Joey Logano. He's going to drag the brakes and let Blaney get in front of him in that 12 car.
So now we see the 3 Penske cars all lined up there with Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, and Austin Cindric. Those 3 Fords will try to work together. It's been 3 Fords that have worked well together up front already. Take a look at Riley Herbst and a little bit of movement here at the front of the line.
Yeah, he's trying to push the 23. Doesn't have a ton of experience in the next gen car and how it might handle that shove in a transition from the banking or the lack of banking on the straightaway into the turn. Always learning here in the draft.
Pretty interesting, guys. Ty Gibbs jumped up to that outside to try to lead that outside line, and then when he did it, the energy just went away from it. They're going to have to start pushing each other, bump drafting to get back up there.
Inside line with the momentum now as we see 7 cars have broken away.
Yeah, those 2 cars running side by side slow themselves down just a little bit. Now they're trying to stay spread apart so they don't actually drag each other down too much. when they get close together, the side draft starts to happen, and when you're wheel to wheel, both cars suffer.
Take a look at this from the Toyota onboard of Bubba Wallace, right there on the front bumper.
It's like the couple cars jumped in that outside line right there. The 20 car of Bell, Truex as well now. All the Toyotas trying to find each other. Even though that outside line hasn't really been productive, them just seeing an opportunity to get together was worth it in their eyes. So we'll see if they can get it going now on that outside line and start going back to the front, take over those Fords.
Yeah, Steve, I'm sure the thought there was to get more cars up there, and it would make that outside line productive.
Manufacturers working together. Ford's working with Fords right now. They're the top three with Briscoe, Almirola, and Burton.
One sip begs the question, is Coke Zero Sugar the best Coke ever? Take a taste and see. You're watching the Coke Zero Sugar 400 on NBC.
The Coca-Cola Racing family is celebrating their 25th anniversary this year. Check out the exclusive content series on Coca-Cola Racing social handles, where Coca-Cola Racing legends Jeff Burton, Dale Jarrett, Bobby Labonte, and Kyle Petty give fans a peek behind the curtain on their experiences with the Coca-Cola Racing family and the history Coca-Cola has played in the sport.
Take a look at all the in-car cameras we got tonight. We watch now the outside line full of Toyotas. Denny Hamlin's found his way into the lead of that line. Give it a try. He's one of the best restrictor plate racers in the field. And if anyone can pull that line up toward the front, side drafting and doing all the things necessary, it's him.
You know, what's helping him is Martin Truex behind him has been giving him some really good pushes, and that's helping shove that outside line. Martin will get right to the rear bumper. But now on the bottom, you can see those teammates are trying to tandem draft a little bit.
Yeah, the 10 got locked onto the back bumper of the 14, the red 14 out front. A little bit of wiggle on Briscoe's car, but they took off. Eric Almirola did a good job there, but now the energy falls back down. They back up to Harrison Burton and Kyle Larson, and now that outside line can get the momentum and maybe come back. Those pushes to get out there are really not that productive. You get pushed out really far, but then when you slow down, you get back to the line and you slow the whole line down before they can rebuild that momentum.
What else is very interesting to me is these guys on the inside line, if you think that outside line is going to get going, you could jump up in front of them and lead that line. But it is a line of Toyotas. And the first chance they get, they're going to move you out of there. And they are, the minute you make a mistake, they're going to take advantage of it, and you are going all the way to the back. Parker.
Well, guys, we watched this battle at the front, especially Chase Briscoe leading this bottom lane there. You guys mentioned getting pushed far out front. Well, also, in relation to that 10 car, his gaps, he's been very vocal on the radio in terms of getting pushed too far out and the information he wants from his spotter in terms of how far back that 10 is from him. Because, as you guys know, getting too far out front can be as detrimental as being just too close. So he's really trying to work on his gaps there to control that lead draft there, Dave.
Parker just checked in on the 6-car. Brad Keselowski in his pit. Crew chief Matt McCall told me no problem with the 6. He dropped to the very back. Sometimes drivers, you see something or feel something you don't really like. This just a matter of Brad saying, you know what, I'm in the playoffs, and so is my teammate, and I can just ride back here and have a whole car at the end of the day and maybe race for the win.
Taking that forward to the back. All right, drivers, does the front of this race look reminiscent to Talladega a couple years ago when Stewart-Haas Racing decided their 4 cars were just going to run nose to tail? Nobody was going to leave the yellow line, and they went out and led most of the laps of that race and ended up winning it?
The back, you know, the Fords actually have been just really good at these type of racetracks. What they've complained about as a deficiency or being sort of behind the other teams at the 1.5 miles and the short tracks, well, that is now an advantage in terms of drag and downforce at Daytona, at Talladega, at Atlanta, tracks where we've seen them run really, really strong. And while they're working on that bottom groove, they're working well together. As long as they can sort of keep this gap, that outside line eventually has to get going. You have to imagine that eventually it's going to get there. they'll have to change that plan up when it does.
Well, you see right there, thought A.J. Allmendinger was going to jump up in front of that line. He did for just a moment in that 16 car, and then he thought better of it and jumped to the bottom.
Yeah, we have to wonder, you know, as handling starts to become a little bit more of a factor throughout the run, does that change how strong the bottom is versus the top? We saw the cars not handling all that well in just single car qualifying. The Xfinity Series talked about being incredibly loose out there last night as this track gets slicker over the years. I am a little bit surprised, though, that the outside line's not really been able to go anywhere. Not seeing aggressive pushes from the 19, not like we're seeing in that group on the bottom. There you go. 16's going to jump up there. He's getting back down there. He says, nah, we're not going anywhere up there, so I'm going to jump back down in front of this 3-car of Austin Dillon.
On the left side, lower left side of your screen, you see win and get in. These are the drivers that have to win. They have to win if they want to be a part of the playoffs and where they're currently running. So you've got first through third. Win and get in. Well, they're in a great position, Marty.
Rick Denny Hamlin trying to drag that high line up around and into the lead. You know, there's an interesting dilemma for Denny Hamlin tonight. His teammate Ty Gibbs in the Toyota camp at Joe Gibbs Racing needs a win to be able to make the playoffs. The man who drives for him, however, in the 23-car Bubba Wallace also needs a good night. So in his podcast earlier this week, Denny said if it came down to it at the end of the race, I would push Bubba Wallace, not my teammate Ty Gibbs. An interesting comment from Denny Hamlin. Junior, you own a race car and a race team. What would you do if you were in Hamlin's shoes tonight and it came down to that scenario at the end of the race?
I'd probably push the car that I owned to the win. I think the difference with me is I wouldn't have said that publicly. But that's why, you know, that's why we like Denny. That's why we listen to his podcast, because he gives us the truth. I just feel like that, you know, they're a young team, and just that little moment of being able to get a car into the playoffs would be so big for them going forward. There's a lot of money at stake as well. And so he understands all of those numbers, right? It's not an emotion. It's not a decision on just emotion. Oh, I want my car to be in there. He knows that it will really affect the bottom line and the bank account for that 2311 team.
It also would affect the bank account for the Joe Gibbs Racing team. So if Joe Gibbs, if my guy's driving for me, he's going to help me. If not, I might need a different driver.
There you go.
An appropriately named podcast, Actions Detrimental. Well, maybe sometimes words detrimental. Chase Briscoe still up front at Daytona. Hey, race fans, when in Las Vegas, stay where the racers stay at the South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa. Your ultimate pit stop on the Las Vegas Strip. South Point, everything you want, all under one roof. Racing under the lights at Daytona International Speedway, and a new leader as Denny Hamlin has got that outside line working with his teammate Martin Truex Jr. just behind him.
3 wide right there. Looks like the 17 of Chris Buescher got moved into the middle, and he's dropping like a rock.
Yeah, I think that started. That looked like cars are starting to drive a little bit bad. Looked like the 5-car moved around a little bit. Probably people had to get out of the throttle, and sometimes you just have to make an evasive action to keep from running in the back of somebody, Marty.
Boy, Jeff, that high line really working right now. Chase Elliott trying to make some moves, going to the middle right there. Is there a problem with the communication on the 9-car? Listen in.
We need to go to channel 2. You can, channel 2. Confirm. Okay. I'll meet you there. I won't talk again until I get to 2.
So there you go. They have to move to channel 2. I think the significance here, Steve, is that takes away a channel of communication for the 9 team, probably for the rest of the night. And you use that alternate channel maybe more at super speedway racing than a normal racetrack. Is that a fair statement?
Well, you do from spotter to crew chief. You know, it's a public channel people can scan, but it's a great way to talk without bothering your driver. The bigger concern is, you know, just last week, misinformation, miscommunication, or total love had the 9-car run out of gas. Now we're at a racetrack where things happen in the blink of an eye. The spotter to the driver, guys, is the most important at the super speedways as we ride on board with Chase Elliott, that Coke Zero Sugar camera. That would be my concern, right? As a crew chief, I'm not worried about adjustments and handling. I want to make sure you guys know what the man on the roof is seeing.
Yeah, the guy on the roof is so important because you can see what's in front of you and you can see what's directly behind you. but you can't see 3 rows behind or 3 rows in front. And you need that information in order to make good decisions. And if that little bit of split second of radio interference messes things up and you can find yourself in a wreck, and you talk about handling, look at the throttle and the brake. So Chase Elliott, right there, he's off the throttle, even on the straight, to keep the running into the back of the car that's in front of him. That's how big the draft is. He's not even half throttle and sitting there running, 190 mile an hour. That's how big the draft is. And look, not even half throttle, even in a corner.
And you're thinking, okay, well, why don't you just go to the right, get on the outside of that car, drive around them, right? You can pull out a line, mash the throttle wide open, and you'll drop to the back because of how much drag is introduced to the car in clean air. And so that's the fear. That's why he stays in line, because if you notice he jumps out of line, he's probably not going to have any help, and he's going to the back, even at full throttle. Got a lap car at the top of the racetrack. The field's going to try to work its way by. This is always a tense moment. It's going to put you 3 wide for a very brief moment, and you hope everybody's paying attention.
And look what Chase can see, and look what he can't see. He has no idea what's going on in the row in front. He can see the blue car just fine. He knows exactly what's happening with him. But if he has to slow down quickly because of what happens in front of him, he doesn't know it. And that's where the spotter says, hey, they're stacking up, they're stacking up. You got to start lifting early because you just cannot see it.
Well, talk about things Chase can see. You can see out the window, but look at this. I don't know what else to say other than a conglomeration of mirrors. We have mirror 1, mirror 2 being the digital, and the big mirror like you have in your car at home, right? So it's interesting to me, drivers, that digital mirror, the middle one, that's a rear view camera off the roof. That's normally down low. Here at Daytona, up high, much like the other left side mirror. That's just got to be because of the banking. You're more, looking up that end of the mirror and the window. You think that's normal?
Yeah, I just think he wants all those options because he's not comfortable with just one, right? He's not entirely sold on the digital being enough, giving him enough information about what's going on around him. And a lot of times that might not pick up some good angles that you're seeing or you're used to in the original mirrors. I would probably feel the same way. I'd want them both in there, especially at this racetrack where the spotter is so important and you need to be able to see everything going on around you, Marty.
Junior 6 to go here in stage 1, and tonight will be about track position and a game of inches. In fact, it's so tight. Tyler Reddick's team told him a moment ago they were not in a position to get stage points. They said drop back and save fuel. Their whole purpose for that, Parker, is that when they pit in stage 1, their pit stop will be a little bit quicker if they can save some fuel here than the leaders who are up front burning more fuel.
Right, Marty, and for those Fords that were leading this line, led by Chase Briscoe earlier in the race and led 22 laps, but then was overtaken by those Toyotas, they may have a culprit 2 rows behind, or at least 2 cars behind them, and that is that 21 of Harrison Burton. About 10 or so laps ago, he came on the radio and said he was very squirrely and then was losing overall grip and eventually just way too loose. And a lot of these drivers are telling me it's that 3rd car in line. When you look up front, that has a huge effect on how much energy is in that lane. So keep your eye on that 3rd lane, but that could be the culprit as to how those Fords lost the track position late here in stage 1.
They're talking about the 3rd car in line. That 3rd car in line is what helps the 2nd car get connected to the leader. Without help from the 3rd car, the front 2 will never get connected to be able to really make pushes happen. You see the 54 losing the bottom of the racetrack out of the throttle. Handling coming into play here around lap 25, starting to get worse for some of these drivers.
Yeah, that was a big lift off the corner, and that really helped this outside lane get moving forward. Remember, Bubba Wallace in the 23 car, we're riding along now with the Toyota Cam. He's racing that 54 car for points. Here it is with 4 to go in this stage.
And as you get tighter and tighter in the draft, coming around turn 2 right there. Oh, look, a little bit of movement. Denny goes up and blocks. Herbst right there in that outside lane. Herbst trying to get to the outside of the 11 car. Cannot do it. Here comes Truex to the inside.
And Riley Herbst, a big push. Riley, he does not run a lot of Cup races. He's an Xfinity driver. Hasn't run an Xfinity race, but here he is so far in this Cup race doing a really good job.
And now 3 laps to go in stage 1. A message from Powerball, the official lottery game of NASCAR.
You don't have to be in the race to be in the race.
Here comes the 94.
Introducing the NASCAR Powerball Playoff. 4 finalists will win a trip for 2 to the NASCAR Cup Series championship race at the Phoenix Raceway, with the grand prize winner taking home $1 million. And now, the 16 semifinalists in the race for the million. Powerball, the official lottery game of NASCAR, and home to the NASCAR Powerball Playoff.
Teammates side by side for the lead. And again, points paid at the end of each stage. And that means that Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr., guys right now that are up here fighting for the regular season championship, could get some extra points.
Well, the Toyotas, they got in that outside lane to get this position. And then when they got there, they split. Now you have Toyotas on the bottom. You have Toyotas on the top. One Ford leading this outside lane. How are you going to get by them if they're split side by side?
Under 2 laps to go as we ride along with Kevin Harvick and at Hunt Brothers Pizza. And now a little squirrely there, the 11 of Denny Hamlin with the push from Riley Herbst.
He's going to dive in front of every line that's coming. Right there, though, he doesn't get in front of Truex. Truex now neck and neck off of turn 4, coming to the white flag of this stage.
That inside line that was leading this race a little bit ago, they're all the way back. The highest running one is in 11th place.
Denny feels like that if he can work this perfectly, he's going to cross the finish line first. He's able to block both lines, get the run, and get the shove off of the 36. See if it happens again down the back straightaway. He's going to box that 36 in back there, force that car to push him down the back straightaway. Here comes the Ford to the inside.
Moving out of line, 3 wide now as Riley Herbst going to get shuffled out. And here comes the 19 to the inside of Hamlin.
Oh, Denny almost squeezes. We're 3 wide, Rick.
Harvick decides to go to the high side. He's not going to push the 11 of Hamlin. The 20 of Bell now behind the 19. Martin Truex Jr. He's going to win stage 1 at Daytona.
Denny would like to have that one back. Felt like he was in perfect position off in turn 1 to be able to win that stage. Just couldn't put the blocks together. Harvick threw a monkey wrench into the whole plan on the back straightaway, going to the middle there. That was fantastic.
3 wide, fighting for those points. Martin Truex Jr., the current regular season points leader, grabs a couple more. NBC Sports coverage of NASCAR is brought to you by Coke Zero Sugar. Is it the best Coke ever? Sonic. Sonic. And by Credit One Bank, a credit card company. Great crowd here on hand to see this, the season finale for the Cup Series. The regular season determined at the end of this race, as well as the playoff contenders.
And one of the challenges here at Daytona was so many cars on the lead lap. Everyone expects to pit right here. It's a reasonable sized pit road, but a lot of different agendas. 2, 4, gas. Going to have great communication between crew chief and driver.
Cars coming to you, Dave.
And Rick, the 4 of Kevin Harvick now hits pit road. First pit stall in. He told his crew, a lot of guys getting tight on the bottom. I couldn't run with them. The balance of my car is good. He'll get 4 Goodyear tires. Marty.
Wallace, top right of your screen, Dave. He said it's so sketchy when you're in the middle. Just a little too free for him. It's going to be 2 tires. Going to wait a little bit on fuel. Actually, 4 tires for Bubba Wallace. Christopher Bell said, I love the balance of where the car is right now. No changes for Bell. 4 Goodyear tires, Parker.
And for Martin Truex Jr., it's 4 Goodyear tires and waiting on fuel. You'll see him sit there for just a second, and now he is away. It looks like a race between him and Joe Logano off pit road there. Team Joe Logano got him.
And you see no tires there for Austin Hill, gaining a lot of ground, but it's Joey Logano gaining 3 spots with his 4-tire change. You're watching the NASCAR Cup Series Coke Zero Sugar 400. Stage 1 is complete, getting ready for the start of Stage 2. Marty, you got a very special guest down there with you.
Rick, anytime you can hang out with the 15-time Super Motocross champion, Ricky Carmichael, the GOAT, as we call him, around NBC Sports. It's a great day. You got to drive the pace car today. I mean, you've raced in the Xfinity Series, Truck Series, all the motocross success as well. How cool was that, though?
Oh, it was an absolute blast. And Briscoe gave me a little love tap from behind there. It's a lot of fun. I love this place. Daytona International Speedway is so much fun. And to lead these drivers to the green was epic.
So you're you're one of only a couple of guys who've had a perfect season. This kid, Jet Lawrence, 20 years old. He's coming after you for 31-0, man.
I didn't think anyone was, but now you see all the riders really embracing it. It's going to be a great time. I'm glad to be a part of it.
And he also has a special connection, Rick, to this racetrack because he designs the course here at Daytona every year. He told us to almost finish for next year. Ricky Carmichael, the GOAT, the greatest of all time, hanging out here on pit road at Daytona.
Yeah, RC, so impressive. He actually referenced the first playoff for the Super Motocross World Championship playoffs. That one's going to be September 9th at 3 o'clock on USA at ZMAX Dragway, then 8 p.m. on Peacock at Chicagoland for playoff 2, and the championship, Steve, 10 p.m. USA at the LA Coliseum.
Yeah, so if you're just hearing about this for the first time, what is this? Think of Supercross. You know, it's kind of in the different venues, football stadiums here at Daytona. That's a Supercross series that runs in the spring. Motocross, the big outdoor, wide open racetracks. Well, this is kind of the combination of. We're going to take the best of all of that, line them up for 3 events. I just think this is a great idea. Listen, racing worldwide and nationwide, it's in a great spot. 2 wheels, 4 wheels, road courses, ovals, a lot of great stuff happening.
Great to have Ricky here with us. We're riding along on the Coke Zero Sugar of Daniel Suarez.
You're right there. That's just saving gas. You're going to hear this time and time and time again, trying to reduce time on pit road. You see on the bottom left, Kyle Busch had a penalty. He'll have to start at the tail of the field. This stage longer. This one's 56 laps, so it will require a pit stop.
Logano on the inside. As they come through the restart zone, he's first into the gas. That's Martin Truex Jr. in the 19 on the outside. He has Christopher Bell behind him. Logano has the 4 of Harvick pushing. We'll see who has the advantage and which line has the most momentum early. There's Kevin Harvick with a big shove, and he will get Logano clear. We'll see if the 2 will work together.
A little side draft by the 19 breaks the 4 and the 22 apart, so they can't continue to push down the back straightaway. They get back together here at the end of the straightaway into turn 3. And Harvick came to play tonight.
Yeah, Harvick got super aggressive at the end of stage 1, and now again super aggressive with Logano. Logano's pit crew did a great job. Came in running 5th, came out with the lead. Now Logano's job is to keep the lead. Do not give up that track position.
Momentum on the outside. Here comes Martin Truex Jr. with the help of Bell. Little side drafting, trying to pull that car back on his inside. Three wide, a little bit deeper in the field.
You see the outside lane trying to form up, trying to make it 3 wide, see if they can get some energy.
Led by A.J. Allmendinger back there in the 16 car, but you see one car there bailing on that idea. Already, hey, we ain't going anywhere. I'm going to move. I think that's Corey LaJoie in the 7 car who moved out of that outside line. Not enough numbers up there, not enough cars to be able to create enough energy.
Big push on that outside line now. Started to run. Harvick in the back of the 22, halfway down the back straightaway.
Daniel Suarez in the 99, Bubba Wallace in the 23.
Now they're broken up. Big gap between the 19 and the 20. This should allow Suarez to get up. Now the 20's got a big run. He's going to get right back to the back bumper, but now this might be able to get the 4 clear. It doesn't. Big run by the Toyotas on the outside, headed to the lead.
A car length gap between Martin Truex Jr. and teammate Christopher Bell, so he loses that momentum that he had gained.
Yeah, this stage is already more aggressive than stage 1. You can see a lot more pushing, a lot more shoving, 3 wide.
Now Harvick's finally clear. Back comes the 19 of Truex. Will he get stalled out on the side of the 99 car for 3rd? He does. He's going to need some help from his teammate, the purple 20 car on the outside line, the second car in line there. Christopher Bell in that car. Bubba Wallace is behind him, another Toyota. Those three are trying to link up now.
And Suarez riding along with him with the Coca-Cola Zero Sugar Cam. He is in a must-win situation. He came in here with an outside shot of getting it in points, but after stage one, the way points were distributed, now there's no way he can get in by points. The only way he's going to get in is by winning.
Watch that third lane. A.J. Allmendinger starting to make it work up there. He's found a few more drivers to get up there with him.
Interesting watching the telemetry of Daniel Suarez. You see him out of the throttle. He's the third car back on the inside line. A lot of movement, though.
Chase Elliott jumps into that outside line. He says, hey, boys, take me to the front.
And remember that 8 car, the third car in line on the outside, he got penalized. He had to start at the back of the field, Marty, and here he is, driven himself to the front.
Boy, Jeff, that third lane really rolling now, and we have not seen this much with the new car here at Daytona for sure. And so what's going on with the Cheddar's onboard? You're riding on board with Kyle Busch. What's happening is, Steve, these teams are seeing the leaders up front lifting, trying to save fuel to make it closer to the end of the stage. So when they see them lifting, they develop that third lane, and it's working, Steve. Chase Elliott to the front using that third lane.
Yeah, the third lane is definitely more competitive than normal, and the 9 had it timed perfect. Guys jumped up in front of it, and for that reason, now he leads that top lane.
How do you get track position? That's the only way to do it. Otherwise, on pit road. And when the next-gen car was only providing us 2-lane racing, everyone from the third row on back could not gain any track position. But now that we have a third groove in this race, we may be able to see cars actually work their way through the field with good moves. That 9 car is getting some big pushes. He has his hands full.
And you hear the crowd now.
Oh,
the most popular driver in NASCAR fighting up front, A.J. Allmendinger. He's on the high side.
A.J. pushed him so much, Chase said, I'd had enough. I want off the nose of that 16. Too aggressive.
And this is, look at what's happened with the 3 wide. Now everybody has said, hey, that outside lane worked. I'm going to get into it. People trying to migrate into it. People in the middle. People on the bottom. Now the deal is if you're in the 5th, 6th row, you're just hoping your row gets moving. There's nothing you can do but push and shove.
There he comes again. Chase Elliott on that lower line, trying to take the lead once again at Daytona.
The 22 Logano almost up into the door of the 8 car there.
Kyle Busch got a big shove. He transferred it to the 16. It's A.J. Allmendinger leading now at Daytona. Chase Elliott's back up front as we take a look at the Xfinity fastest lap, and it was turned by Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 45.71 seconds per lap. That's an average speed around this 2.5-mile track of over 196 miles an hour. And we drive along with him in the Innemann's number 47 onboard camera.
We are 3 wide throughout the entire field. I mean, I don't think it can get more intense than this right here. There's a lot of checking up, a lot of lifting, a lot of opportunities for mistakes. Somebody to get clipped in the left rear quarter panel or the right rear quarter panel and turn the wrong way. We're just seconds away from a disastrous wreck for the field.
Oh, see that hit from Harvick to Logano? Watch what happens. It just shoots Logano out. And right in the trouble, that's not a comfortable place to get hit. The car is not in the racetrack very well there. Car slides around a lot when you get hit. It's easy to lose control.
Look how insane this is. I mean, this is 190 miles an hour, inches apart, 3 by 3 by 3. And nobody's bailing out. Only a couple drivers are like, hey, I don't want nothing to do with this. Everyone else, with everything at stake tonight, is staying in this fight.
If they were seeing what we were seeing, they'd bail. I mean, I remember the first time I came up here, I thought, you guys are nuts.
Oh, man, they're almost wrecking right there. Chase Elliott got up the racetrack into the 47.
And that's going to hurt Chase Elliott right there.
They're not done. We're 4 wide here.
4 wide. Chase Elliott just moments ago was leading this race, and look at him now. He's fallen all the way back to 12.
That was a huge moment.
Chase told us before the race that, hey, I'm going to be aggressive. I want to show everybody that I'm the car to run with.
When they're 3 wide, look at the 47, gets right on his quarter panel and gets him loose, gets him up the racetrack. We're already seeing at lap 25 of the first stage, we had handling concerns, drivers talking about the balance of the car going away. Now when they're running 3 wide, lap 19 of stage 2, the guys on the bottom are having the hardest time keeping their cars low in these 3 wide situations.
Allmendinger, who has self-proclaimed doesn't like this style of racing, well, it's working out for him right now. He's got a good pusher in the 8 of Kyle Busch behind him.
Face your fears, AJ. Go out there, take control of the race. That's what he's doing.
Justin Haley, he was also penalized after that first pit stop. He and Kyle Busch both, and now they both found themselves toward the front.
What's insane is, like, Kevin Harvick, you know, in his final year, he's in the playoffs, you know, but he's out here right in the middle of the danger zone. And I imagine he's having a pretty good time with it.
How about the 1 now, Ross Chastain?
He's made a few good moves to get up through the middle there, making that middle work.
Ross was in that outside lane about 2 laps ago, and he hung a left and just jumped in the middle lane, and now he's fighting for the lead.
He's going to get a shove from the 22 of Logano. Dave.
And it's good news for Ross Chastain, because on his pit stop, he got blocked in and actually made a second pit stop to top off. So it wasn't a good deal on pit road. On the track, he's very good. Remember his statement earlier this week, our one goal is to get the 99 into the playoffs. That's his teammate. Unfortunately, the 99 of Suarez dropped back for handling issues. He's at the front now. Chastain leading, Marty.
Boy, Dave, the intensity on pit road certainly palpable right now. Denny Hamlin about 10 laps ago was up in the top 5. Now he's back in 38th. What's going on? Listen.
Bail. I'm gonna bail. Copy that. Got about 8 rows of 3x3 behind you.
So, Jeff, you mentioned it. You said I would bail if they were watching what I was watching. But, Junior, how much do you have to listen to that second sense as a driver to know, hey, this is getting too crazy for me. I got to get out of here.
Well, I mean, there's going to be situations like this right here that don't look comfortable. I promise you, the driver that's in the middle of this pack, 4 rows back, doesn't want to be there. But if they give up that track position, they know the longer this race goes, the harder it will be to get it back. Where are you going to go if you're at the back of this field right now? This is how it's going to be at the end. 3 wide. Where are you going to go? How are you going to drive back through the field when it's just like this with 20 laps to go? Daniel have to find those positions before it's too late.
Yeah, this is crazy. The aggression in this race right now, the 3 wide, it is narrow. Look at the width of the racetrack. This is not a wide racetrack like Talladega. 3 wide, lap after lap after lap with bad handling cars. The time bomb's ticking. I mean, it's nerve-wracking up here watching this.
It's a hold your breath moment, but you can't do it here at Daytona. It's too big. The lap's too long. A.J. Allmendinger out in front.
One sip begs the question, is Coke Zero Sugar the best Coke ever? You're watching the Coke Zero Sugar 400 on NBC.
Right on the edge of control. We have seen 3 wide racing, 2 wide racing. Now things calming down a little bit up front as they've gone to the double yellow line, led by Ross Chastain, Joey Logano.
Yeah, the Toyotas seem to be strong when we get into the used tires, right? When we get around lap 25 or so, everybody starts to struggle with balance, but I'm liking what I'm seeing from the Toyotas late into the run. Chastain's been able to drive to the front. Logano's still up there. But a lot of the cars that tend to run really well at the start of the stage struggle right around this time. The bottom groove gets harder to hold.
That's right, and that's why, you know, you saw 3 wide, 3 wide, 3 wide, and now what was the fast lane at the very top for Kyle Busch before is going to drag him all the way to the back of the line because nobody wants to go there anymore. Cars just do not drive well enough up 3 wide.
It's amazing how fast they're going by, that difference of speed. So we take a look at the progressive telemetry on Ryan Blaney, and we did show you earlier. Look at his feet working. The gas, the brakes.
So he's got the gas mashed wide open. He's using the brake pedal a little bit to keep himself from driving into the car in front of him. We'll see him lift off the throttle sometimes right there. A little bit of brake gas. Pretty incredible the dancing they're doing down there on the pedals. Everybody in the field that's not in the very front of each line is doing exactly this right here with their feet, managing the gap to the car in front of them.
194 miles an hour, and they're trying to stay within inches of each other.
Yeah, it's gotten calmer, but the car's still driving poorly. Todd Gilliland, by the way, in the 38 car, he just came down pit road. He's got an oil leak problem.
Unfortunate for the sophomore driver.
Blaney's holding it wide open down the front straightaway for the most part. A little bit of a lift in the trial. Let's see what he does down here in turn 1 and 2. He's able to hold it wide open all the way to corner exit. Saw a lift in the last lap in the middle of turn 3 and 4, but then he planted the throttle for the exit of the corner and had a great run down the hill off turn 4.
See, he's far enough away from the 4 car now that he's just running wide open. He does not have to lift at all to keep him running into the back of him. The car behind Blaney is not right behind him, giving him a push. Now as he starts to gain on him, he's got to regulate that speed. He can't just jump up to him real quickly.
And this outside line is driving by that inside line. The inside, when the car starts to handle poorly, they can't get to each other's back bumper as often and do as much work to keep the lead car running fast enough to sustain the lead.
Steve, when are you starting to give your driver some information as far as when we're going to come to pit, who we're pitting with?
I gave him the plan before this run started, and I'm not going to talk to him until we're about 5 laps away, maybe even less. At this point, I want all his focus on what's going on the racetrack. He's only going to need 2 or 3 laps. Now, if we continue to see 2 and 3 wide like this, you give your driver like a 5-lap window just so he doesn't get parked in the 3rd lane up top. But this takes every bit of focus. It's like when we ride in the rental car, Rick. I can't have you nagging me while I'm trying to go up and down the interstate. They're trying to do it at 200.
I'm giving you directions, Steve. It's not nagging.
Okay,
Yeah,
well, I'm not giving these guys directions. I'm going to stay off the radio.
My experience is, Steve, Rick would not need to be your spotter.
Yeah, we cleared this up.
Look at this run right here Stenhouse is going to have.
Big run, and we're riding along with Inneman's onboard camera to see it.
Yeah, the car's on the inside starting to struggle off of turn 2. That's a corner that you always had handling issues with during the old surface. Car just starting to get loose or really tight off of the corner. Both ends really, turn 4 as well.
And Dale, I'm seeing the same thing you're seeing. So if I'm one of the crew chiefs on pit road, I'm trying to wonder, do I need to change my plan? Do we have to have fresher tires on at the end of this race, Marty?
And Steve, Alan Gustafson saw that as well. About 10 laps ago, he asked Chase Elliott as we ride on board with the Coke Zero Sugar onboard camera for Chase Elliott, how is the bottom line? At that point, he was in the bottom line. Here's Chase Elliott's response.
Yeah, I don't really love it. I mean, I don't really see what I'm gaining here. But
so at that point, Jeff, what he did is backed up a little bit, found his way to the top line. That's clearly worked for Chase Elliott, back up in 6th position. Unlike Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott felt like, I've got to be up there. I've got to sense the energy of the...
Yes, I'm wrong with Marty's mic, but yes, you and your spotter and crew chief all need to be communicating. What is it that you're seeing? What is it that you're feeling? What happened in the last run? Did the top work? Did the bottom work? And you got to pay attention to the trends because they tend to repeat themselves. Cars start handling worse. When they handled bad, the outside started working. That's where experience matters. That's where a great crew chief, a great driver, that communication, Steve, sometimes happens just between the crew chief and the spotter. The driver doesn't adhere it until they've made a decision.
That's that channel 2 that Marty was asking about earlier that Chase had to go to. That's normally what Alan would use to talk to the spotter. If the car itself is on channel 2 and channel 1's not working, now they're one tool down for the rest of the field.
Alan Gustafson went to high school at Seabreeze High. It's only 8 miles from here. It's Ross Chastain out in front of the field at Daytona. Let's see which drivers are on the move. Brought to you by Ashley Furniture. 36 spots for Ryan Preece in that 41. He's the 3rd car on the outside line. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., he's made up 26 spots since the start of the race. And out in front, Ross Chastain, 22 positions since the beginning of the race.
Look at that side draft right there for the 12 of Blaney. Good move by Ryan Blaney to try to get by that one car. Savvy, drive way up the racetrack to get to him. He's got some help right here with his good buddy Chase Elliott on his back bumper. They're going to try to team up and get by this Chastain car. Chastain right there on the front of the outside line in the blue and black car. See if Blaney tries to go up there and side draft him again and slow him back down. Oh, he got a little loose right there. You see that?
Yes, it's not 3 wide anymore, but it's still exceptionally aggressive. You can see these pushes. And that's how these wrecks start at Talladega and Daytona. Somebody getting into the back of the car in front of and just moving him around. Parker.
Well, as we see Chase Elliott make his way back to the front, he has a dedicated drafting partner behind him. That blue and white car right there of Kyle Larson. That team telling me, yes, our goal tonight is to either push the 9 or the 48 and to help them out the best we can. And that's what he's doing here, sticking right to the bumper of Chase Elliott as they fly at the front of this field. Now, guys, we talked about how quickly things can change here at this racetrack. Think about A.J. Allmendinger. Led 8 laps, used that top lane to get all the way to the front. He made one move not going to the bottom because the team told him all the cars on the bottom were handling badly. His lane broke up, and he is back in 28th place right now, all the way at the back of this pack. All that hard work gone. That's how quick it happens at Daytona.
Right.
It does.
He's tried that bottom line there. We saw him move down.
Yeah, you may be asking yourself, why are these guys racing so hard with so many laps to go in this race? Whoa, almost a block there, almost contact. In the last 7 races, no winner at Daytona has finished worse than 11th at the end of stage 2 and won the race. Track position matters, and these drivers know it. You have got to run well early in this race to have a chance to win.
Right there on the edge of the screen, the black Monster Energy number 54 car trying to get up into this top 10 as we come to the end of the stage. 20 to go. Ty Gibbs, as they run, is 12 points behind Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace is all the way back in 31st as Blaney goes to the lead.
20 to go and pit stops still to come. We got to be getting very, very close. We got 2, 3, maybe 4 more laps. We're going to start to see a wave of pit stops that should come in at least 3 waves. The trick is you can't come alone, but you don't want to come with 20 of your friends. Green flag pit stops is kind of like making a dinner reservation. It's easy to get a table for 6, maybe a table for 8. Try to get a table for 20. It's complicated. It's impossible. You do not want to pit with that many cars at once.
The other problem, Steve, is the wrecks we see getting on pit road. Everybody tries to get down there at the same time. Somebody misjudges the car slowing down in front. They make contact. It is a very difficult pit road to get on when everybody's trying to do it together.
Ryan Blaney has the 22 of Joey Logano pushing him. 3 Fords lined up on the bottom with Kevin Harvick back there in the 4. Ross Chastain peeking on the outside, but Blaney now is blocking both lanes.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. And what he's trying to do is he's going up there to block the runs if he can, but he also wants to get energy off of the car that's behind him.
2 wide once again. Pit stops are coming. Green flag pit stops from Daytona.
That's my team out there.
If our network goes down, lives are at stake.
Our comms have to work.
Or the mission won't.
That's why we partner with Verizon Frontline, the network that truly prioritizes first responders.
So we don't worry about getting through. And they're the most reliable 5G network in America. Out here, reliability is everything.
Extreme or routine, Verizon Frontline delivers.
The #1 network choice in public safety. Learn more. It's your mission. It's your Verizon.
I watched my first race yesterday.
You're on the team, kid. It's orientation day.
Hey, new guy, let's get you up to speed.
Lunch time.
Your workspace is ready.
Looks like you got a corner office.
Be part of something greater. Toyota. Let's go places.
There comes a time in every dip's life when it's ready to leave the slow cooker, even buffalo chicken dip. So we put juicy chicken, buffalo sauce, and melty cheese in a portable crispy golden shell. Runaway dip. You're free now. Sonic $2.99 buffalo chicken dip bites.
Nice footwork. Man, you're lucky.
Watching live sports never used to be this easy. Now you can stream all your games like it's nothing.
Yes! That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, here he comes. Go!
Running up and down that field looks tough.
It's a pitch.
Get way more into what you're into when you stream on the Xfinity 10G network.
Okay, got it.
Ray Magliozzi here. eBay Motors has 122 million parts. Let's see, you'll need headlights and a bumper. At least you can skip the car wash. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors, let's ride.
This is where it all starts.
The Southern 500 is underway.
Darlington. Here, the walls can talk. And folks, they're gonna have their say. So, you want to be a NASCAR champion?
The round of 16 begins this evening.
Taming Darlington is your first step. And boy, is it a doozy. The NASCAR playoffs begin at Darlington on USA.
Green flag pit stops about to get underway at Daytona International Speedway. You're watching the NASCAR Cup Series Coke Zero Sugar 400. Haven't seen a lot of hands waving, but we'll see if they start to come down onto the apron here.
I saw the 20 and a couple Toyotas. There it is. You see that purple Yahoo car, the third car in line. That was the hand I saw coming down the backstretch. Really good work. Organized, clean, about a perfect size pack, Dave.
About 4 laps ago, they told Ross Chastain, get down to the bottom lane. It took him a while to do so. Then they said the 47's going to pit with you. He's still in the top. He needs to get down too. Stenhouse did it as well.
Dave, a host of Toyotas coming to pit road here, and a lot of these cars were at the very back of the pack. Because of that, they can do fuel only here, Parker. A massive advantage for the Toyotas.
Right, Marty, and for Ricky Stenhouse was leading this pack. It was just 4.8 seconds of fuel only as they rejoined right behind Ross Chastain.
Fuel only on all of them except for Truex. Tires on Truex. We'll see if that makes a difference. This should be the next wave of cars. We should see 3, maybe 4 waves. 8 or 10 cars all turn left. Penske Fords lead the way. Another very nice job on the pit road.
Dave.
Ryan Blaney told his crew, not much I can do here, but the balance is pretty good, pretty neutral. He'll get fuel only as well.
And Joe Logano's been very happy with the handling of that race car. You see it's just fuel only for him as they just wait on that for now. The 16 Agent Allmendinger also on pit road. That is fuel only as he was at the back of this pack, and he'll rejoin here as they all come off pit road.
Not
fuel
clean
only
for everyone. The 11 of Denny Hamlin. Crew members over the wall too soon. That will be a penalty for Hamlin. As you see cars try to blend, there's the 11 now just leaving pit lane, or serving his penalty, excuse me. No takers this time under green, but as you see this pack go by, left-hand side, you're going to see Hamlin trying to work his way off pit road. The 16 also with a penalty. Mistakes under green, you will lose a lap if you have to serve a penalty.
And so now, how do they blend back out onto the racetrack? They were a giant pack.
My mistake, Rick, 15, not 16. These a lot of race cars in these years of my life. 1.5, 1.6.
And look at this, blocking already. We saw Christopher Bell try to get around Eric Almirola in the 10 out in front. Buescher running second.
And the lap times for this group right here, not quite as fast, so we'll see where they cycle. A big group coming to pit road right here. No tires locked up. That tells me that you're probably looking at gas only as well for most of these cars.
Oh,
Steve, looking at the two of Austin Cindric, he is in. He told me this morning the pit cycles determine these races. He'll take 2 left side tires on the 2 and Sunoco fuel, Marty.
Dave, it's like everybody's trying to get off the exit ramp off the highway. A lot of congestion here on pit road for Chase Elliott. Fuel only. Alan Gustafson said 2 seconds. Gone already, Parker.
It's a little longer stop here for Eric Almirola. They're going to do 4 tires and fill it full of fuel, as this was their plan, to have a better fuel situation at the end of this stage. He led this pack on. He'll follow all of them off pit road.
You see the pack that has already pitted. That's this group right here, led by the 12. That black nose, yellow hood, that is Ryan Blaney being pushed by the 20 of Bell. Too wide is going to make this blend even more treacherous. There you go. There's a great idea of kind of the gap and what you look at.
the speed of the group that was on track, catching up to those trying to get up to speed coming off of pit road.
And when the pit cycle is this close to the end of the stage, you know, you just don't know in 10 laps, will it be one big group again? I mean, you can see that they're kind of joining together, but almost from the back, right? I mean, when you look at cars off from pit road, I believe it's going to be the 6 of Keselowski that leads. This is uncomfortable right here, 3 wide already.
Well, ahead of them, the 21 and the 34 stayed out and ran a full lap by themselves. I thought that was an odd move that they made, but the field's gotten scattered up. So you see them right there. The field, now that they're double wide, they're not going to catch them at the same rate they would if they were single file. Parker.
And Jeff, best I can tell is that both of them were stuck up on the higher lane for some reason. We're not able to get down. The other 4 teams didn't feel like they got the info. They both did fuel only, but yeah, they got disconnected from the other 4 teams there when they wanted to pit.
But it's double file. So now it's double file with them. So they're going to make it 3 wide, but it's going to end up working out for them because the energy, it didn't come the way that you thought it would have.
Look at that. Burton to the top is going to block Kyle Busch in that 8 car. And you're right. They're saved now by the energy of the draft. Kyle Busch to the middle of the racetrack. Burton does not block it. Kyle Busch dives low, trying to stay away from the side draft. Is he far enough ahead to clear? Almost. Here comes Burton back on the outside.
Burton getting a shove there from the 99 of Suarez as the two working together, coming up on 8 laps to go in stage 2.
Yeah, that shows you right there. Everybody wants to pit together all the time. The problem with pitting together is you can't get in there nearly as fast as you can when it's just a few cars. Those 2 cars that stayed out, Harrison ended up getting the lead because of that.
Harrison Burton, you see the list on the left. One of those drivers that could win to get into the playoffs. He's up front. Suarez now moves to his outside, trying to take the lead.
Got a couple of slow cars right there ahead, running that high line. The top can get a little bit of the draft off of those cars as we close in on them. You see the 99 trying to use a little bit of the draft off the 36 of Herbst up there in front.
You mentioned those cars, Dale. Those were penalty cars, right? The 15 had a penalty. The 36 had a penalty. That's why right here, this is those 2 cars losing a lap. The 11 of Denny Hamlin also had a penalty. He's about half the straightaway ahead. We'll see if he can stay on the lead lap with 8 laps to go.
Brestree giving us that perspective from Austin Dillon's car. And Austin trying to be aggressive now as he looked to the outside for just a moment of Alex Bowman. Austin Dillon has won here on the high banks of Daytona before. Harrison Burton doing a masterful job of leading that inside line. He's bringing that line back to the lead with the help of Kyle Busch. There's Brad Keselowski, who earlier dropped back, thought it was a little too crazy up front for him, but now as the laps wind down on the stage, he's right there in the mix again. Harrison staying in front of that 99. He goes wherever the 99 goes.
Yeah, he's doing a good job. He's just trying to keep the car moving forward, keep his car moving forward. He needs the energy from the car behind him. They need to push him for him to be able to maintain this lead. And so whatever line's coming forward, he's just going to jump in front of it and hope that they stay committed to him like this 99 is on the back straightaway. Here comes that inside line, Brad Keselowski, one of the best pushers in the field. If you need a good push, it's a little dangerous. He spun a few guys out, but hey, if you need a really good push, he can get it done.
About like that slot machine that Chase Elliott was talking about needing the jackpot. Well, you never know what's going to happen. Oh, look at this. Mom's watching on.
Not really watching, kind of watching.
Kim Burton watching her son Harrison out there on track.
This is exactly what she looked like when you were driving.
Yep.
Well, she knew I was going to mess it up.
A lot of shuffling around right here.
Here comes Brad Keselowski. He's making the move to the outside now of Alex Bowman. We'll see if they can keep the momentum up. Big push, though, coming from Suarez to Busch.
Remember how good Kyle Busch ran in the Daytona 500? Not surprised to see him up here leading this field. RCR always strong at the restricted plate racetracks like Daytona. and Talladega over the years. Still putting great effort into running well here. 3 wide, almost 4 wide back here. Kyle Busch's teammate Austin Dillon right there in the middle.
What is this going to do as we see this crazy 2 and 3 wide racing, 4 laps to go? This group is going to catch 2 cars that will be trying to stay on the lead lap. You see in the upper right, the 11 of Denny Hamlin on the map, just in front of the 8. That's to stay on the lead lap, so I don't believe they're going to pull over. They're going to try to blend at the front in the closing laps.
This middle lane is not working very well right now. Keselowski did jump into it to try to make something happen.
Oh, man, the 1 car had to make a good move right there.
Right in front of Buescher in the 17.
Got so loose right there. It's a couple times we've seen that 1 car out of shape.
I think a lot of people behind him lifted thinking he was going to wreck.
Chastain's up there driving it. Right now, though, that is allowing this inside line to break away. 3 laps to go in the stage. 4 cars broken away. No momentum coming from behind. They're racing each other. Joe Logano, William Byron, slowing each other down. Ty Gibbs in that 54 trying to push the 24 Byron down the back straightaway.
Hamlin, you see him trying to stay on the lead lap. Those 2 cars in front of this pack.
Look at that 24 and that 54 now. That puts that 54 in 5th place.
Coming up on 2 laps to go in stage 2.
A.J. Allmendinger's trying to drive through this field as well. Back there in the 16 car.
Kyle Busch jumps it outside right there.
Yeah,
and Suarez with good momentum. That gets them moving the outside lane.
The slow cars here, the cars like Denny Hamlin, they took the bottom instead of the top. That's going to force this pack to do something a little bit different.
Pack is caught back up to these 2. Kyle Busch and Suarez.
Ty Gibbs now in that 54. Where is Bubba Wallace? Ty Gibbs with an opportunity to get some stage points here. Bubba Wallace back in 21st.
Coming up on the final lap of stage 2, big push from Blaney.
Watch
that
this.
54.
Yeah, watch that move. It did. It just pushed him out front.
Final lap. All clear for Ty Gibbs. Can he maintain it? He's got some of the best in the business at Daytona behind him.
We'll see how long Ryan Blaney stays with the 54.
Big push down the back straightaway. He might bail right here. He's there. He's going to the inside. Oh, not much you can do there, but Gibbs is going to get some help. His teammate, Christopher Bell, the 20 car on the outside, Rick.
Yeah, the back. Big into the wall hard goes Ryan Blaney off the nose of Ty Gibbs, and the big one happens behind him.
And it brought so many people into it. Look at all these cars. Good race cars, big impacts.
Yeah, only 6 cars have gone through already. Look at how many cars involved. Harrison Burton in the 21, who was leading earlier. The 2 of Austin Cindric. Ryan Blaney, the hood up. This one has collected a lot of cars.
That's a big impact. Really big impact.
There's Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Can't get rolling.
Yeah, they're stuck. The flat tires and the frames are just stuck on the ground.
Stenhouse
Several of them
Jr.,
just can't get moving.
the Daytona 500 winner from earlier, and the result's not going to be the same. There's Austin Dillon with so much damage. Left front wheel about to come off.
He was looking for the same magic from a year ago. This year, though, caught up in the wreck. It will not be a win in advance. The 45 of Reddick involved.
See the nose smashed up on that car. Kevin Harvick looks unscathed from this side. Blaney still catching his breath. Window net down, great sign. Keselowski, I believe, is going to get scored as the stage winner. A.J. Allmendinger, the right front fender torn off of that.
And to Jeff's,
your right rear is down. We see that.
To Jeff's point,
right
with both the front and the rear tires down, there's these basically rub blocks on the frame, and with this low profile tire at the speedways where you run the height so low and the spring so stiff, it just literally sits on those. So These cars may be able to continue in the race. They'll be assisted back to pit road by the tow trucks, but there's so many of them.
Here's Blaney climbing out of the 12. Again, it was Ty Gibbs getting into the back of Blaney, and Blaney turning into that outside wall.
And Blaney's out of his car, which it was a massive impact. Some of these other cars could get rolling again.
AMR safety crew attending to all of these drivers.
Oh, sorry, let's see how it starts. Bad pushes start so many of these wrecks right there.
I'll be honest, I was watching that 54. He had a little bit of a wiggle before the push. If we slow it down, I saw that car just wiggle just a little bit before. It's hard to tell right there that there's like a little bit of a kind of a move where the car looks like it's getting uncomfortable and out of control. Massive.
Huge hit.
Massive
by
hit.
Blaney.
You saw that wall. That wall deflected, did a great job. But look at all the damage. That is a massive impact for Blaney.
Safer barrier has styrofoam behind the wall. And he hit it about as hard as we've seen someone hit a wall here.
I feel like there was some contact, and then another.
Right there. Right there.
Well, he's in the back of him.
Well, he's not quite there yet. He pushes him. They get away from each other. There's a little bit of a gap between them.
These wrecks always seem to start in the front, and then it just collects everybody behind them. And we've seen the benefit in pushes. Here he goes. It's a great shot.
So there's contact right. There's movement right there. See, really, he's on him, but it's not a bad push per se. Like, he didn't hit him hard.
It's in the corner. When you hit a guy in the corner and his car is already loose, you're putting yourself and him in jeopardy.
The big one happens here at Daytona. Numerous cars involved. Only a few got through unscathed. Red flag has come out. 64 laps to go in this race, and almost half the field was involved in the big one here. At least 16 cars, as you see the 54 getting towed back to the garage area. We want to check in with the Peacock Pit Box. DJ, we knew that right on the edge of, I guess, craziness, these drivers had been going for lap after lap, and it finally happened, and it happened up front again. Is it a surprise that we saw a big one here?
Yeah, I can't say it's a surprise. It's unfortunate, but it's a product of the racing, being so close. They had avoided something like this quite a few times. And as we take a look at the replays, guys, pushing in the corner, never a good idea.
No, it's not a good idea. And Jeff Burton said it great. You're pushing in the corner, and you're being so aggressive because you're coming down to the checkered. You're coming down to that point where there's points on the line. So you're overly aggressive. So do you push a nanosecond longer? Do you hit at the wrong angle? And that's just what we see Christopher Bell get into the back of Ty Gibbs, turns Ty Gibbs. That in-car camera from Ryan Blaney was just wicked. He had no idea that was coming, and that is a tremendous hit.
Yeah, he snapped right as well as Ty Gibbs. And, we all just kind of took a breath and was relaxed there because for earlier on, they was running 3 wide, and I just kept waiting and anticipating this to happen maybe 15 laps ago. And so I thought it had settled out a little bit, even though we were coming to the end of the stage. That just came out of nowhere, and it happened so quick.
Yeah, and handling has to be part of it, guys. But most of them pitted, took no tires, just got fuel to get themselves in a really good spot to do that. So they, the cars are driving the worst that they have been, but they're trying to make the most they can.
And yeah, we have seen tires not make a big difference here. You see Chase Elliott, he's not really navigating. He's just holding the steering wheel straight at this point in time, because we've all been in these races where you just make a decision and stand behind it. But they're on old tires. They fill the cars up again with fuel or put 4 or 5 gallons of gas in it, or 4 seconds or so gas in it, and it unbalances the car. It takes the car to a different place than they're used to. And you're in this. And I think the words, Rick, we're looking for, not the edge of craziness. I think that's the edge of insanity is what we see when we get in these situations.
Yeah, and you see, both Chase Elliott and Bubba got through that, so they survived to move on. And it's good for them because they're going through unscathed. It's half the field to race against now, so it gives them better opportunity.
And this just reminds us of how close they are on the edge of uncontrol. And that's the problem that I think we see them for almost 63 laps. They're going around there and you're thinking, okay, these guys are really good and it must not be that difficult. But then one little mistake, one little wiggle out of the 54, a push that gets him turned sideways, and this happens. Over 16 cars involved. Red flag is out here at Daytona. So many flashing lights as we see the safety crews and the tow trucks. They are positioned in behind these cars to get ready to push everybody at the same time to pit road. Let's go there now to Dave.
And Rick with a special story. Thanks to Toyota, folks with limited mobility have an amazing new way to experience NASCAR. It's called the Mobility Pit Box. Toyota's global vision for the future is mobility for all, and being true to that message, they created a standard-sized pit box like the race teams use with universal accessibility for a few lucky fans who might otherwise never get close to NASCAR racing. Now, this weekend, it is parked at Pit Inn. They saw all of that action right in front of them just a few minutes ago. Sam and Elise and Tara and Trish, they saw all the action down here, and they saw it, by the way, with monitors and scoring. They've got air conditioning down here. This actually detaches. I may take this with me to pit road if I can. They've got snacks up here, but the whole idea, Toyota wanted to get mobility for everybody, and so with the lift, they get up here. With the ramp, they get up here, and if you're on wheels, you can experience this. Now, you got to understand that this is set up through NASCAR partners, and, you know, there's a limited availability here. So do your networking, get out there, tell folks that you want to go to the Mobility Pit Box at some point. Now, I got to tell you one more quick little story. Elise is actually a Toyota athlete, and it was her and Sam who had the initial discussion with Toyota at the track one weekend and said, hey, we're huge NASCAR fans. Can you help Sam, who's on wheels, have better access to the track? That's how it came about. Toyota did the rest. It's a great new plan. Rick, I think it's going to be a huge hit. Yeah, and we love the ingenuity and the outside-the-box thinking of everybody involved in NASCAR to make sure that every fan is included and can have a great opportunity to witness what's going on. We're riding right here, sitting with the Toyota onboard of Bubba Wallace. Remember, so many of these drivers fighting for not only a win but points because the regular season ends in 64 laps. The playoff field is set in 64 laps.
Well, and the task for Bubba Wallace has become clear, in my opinion, with that wreck of the 54 and where Daniel Suarez finished in the first stage. Now for Bubba Wallace, a new winner is the only thing that will eliminate him from the pit box. Now, he wants to be that new winner and lock himself in. But now, it isn't about counting points, it's counting positions. The best defense, a good offense, those couldn't be truer words in this situation, because the best way he can make sure no one wins is by winning himself.
So what NASCAR has done here, they red flagged it, and they got the records behind all these cars that were stuck on track. And then they said, hey, we're going to push them all at the same time, so it's not an advantage or a disadvantage to anybody. Red flagged it, got the track cleaned up, got records to the cars, and then said, hey, start pushing them, and then it went yellow.
So cars being pushed into their pit stalls. Anyone that's been involved in this accident, they'll be on the DVP, the damaged vehicle policy. A lot are involved in this one. NBC Sports coverage of NASCAR is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Save when you bundle auto, home, or motorcycle insurance. Visit progressive.com. Toyota, let's go places. And by Little Caesars. Convenience tastes great. Order online for pizza portal pickup or delivery. So under the yellow flag after the big one has happened, 62 laps now to go. And numerous cars have been on pit road, had some work done.
Well, it's the small details that make a difference. Denny Hamlin had lost that lap, and because he was spinning in that wreck, I don't think he has a ton of damage, but he was not able to get the free pass. Now, I'll be honest, when I say I don't think he has a ton of damage, there have been so many cars on and off pit road with tape and parts and pieces that we're going to have to kind of get a new...
Do not get the speed.
Oh. The other thing, Steve, to get off of that DVP, they've got to hit a minimum speed.
Yeah, they have to basically run minimum speed, which they need the race to go back to green. You see right here, this is probably a broken toe link, which basically just keeps the tires pointing in the right direction. As you can see, that one doesn't have.
Some of these guys, Steve, may know that they are not going to be able to get their cars fixed, but if they can go out and make a lap or 2 or 3, they might beat somebody by 1 or 2 spots.
So with all of this going on, you said it, it's still winning you're in. The 9 of Chase Elliott has had some ups and downs, but we talked about the 3 different cameras. Well, under this most recent red flag, Chase talked to his team about that digital camera, the one in the middle.
The camera is pointed up, like I can't see the spoiler anymore. It's up so high, I can't hardly use it. So just trying to readjust my vision because that's what I've been looking at all night. Want some tape to cover that thing? Can you reach it? Yeah, I can reach it fine. It's a distraction if I'm not going to be looking at it. You know, like my eyes go to it, and I got to get them going to the mirror.
So basically, you know, he's saying that, hey, I know it's not right, but in the heat of battle, I'm going to keep looking at it, so I want to completely cover it up. So the camera it's hard to see because it's kind of in the name and the sponsors, but it's right there on the back of the roof. It's kind of like the one that points forward. You see the one on the front of the roof? There's a smaller, more blended in one at the back of the roof. It's fixed. So when he says it's pointed up, that tells me the camera, like within the housing, must have pushed its way up. And now we're zooming in as he's messing with it.
Well, and Steve, they made the comment, can you reach it to put tape on it? Why wouldn't one of the crew members just put tape on the actual camera in the back? Just get it so that it's black.
Well, you should run down there and suggest it. I wouldn't have thought about it. That's a pretty good idea, Rick.
NASCAR probably wouldn't like that.
This is also a good example. You wonder why they run an old-style mirror and a digital mirror. Well, this is why. The digital mirror, if it breaks, you've got that old-style mirror as a backup.
And let's go to Marty. He's with Ryan Blaney.
Rick, it's good to see Ryan Blaney walk out of the infield care center. Man, what happened from your perspective, and are you okay?
Yeah, I think I'm okay. I don't really know what happened. I saw, the replay, and I'm guessing the 54 just got turned into my right rear, and unfortunately we got in the fence. So yeah, it stinks. A lot of cars got tore up. Thought we made a good move to try to. Yeah, it looks like you kind of got him in a weird spot, and yeah. That's not fun. Yeah, it stinks. I mean, our Advanced Auto Parts Ford Mustang was really fast and came from the back to the front multiple times, and thought we made a good move to try to win the stage, and just that stinks. Nothing you can really do there. Unfortunate, but fast Mustang. Appreciate Advanced Auto Parts, and looking forward to getting to Darlington next week.
Yeah, good to see Ryan Blaney is okay. Obviously in the playoffs for the win at Charlotte earlier this year, Rick.
Yeah, one of those locked in already coming in, one of the 15 that's been locked in.
Yeah, and it's great to hear from Ryan. That is a huge hit, and a lot of work's been done on this car about trying to make it safer, and we talk a lot about the rear of the car because last year that was the point of emphasis and focus, but this year there's also been updates mid-season to the right side and the front. So you see right there, the safer barrier does its job as far as deflecting, but you look at that car, it is smashed smooth to the front of those front tires, and all of that from bumper work, chassis work has all been redesigned and machined with that compaction in mind. So when a hit like that, I'm sure it was huge from the driver's seat, but you want the car and the parts to take as much of the impact as possible. Man, that is a when you talk about hits, that's like the worst thing possible. Right rear hook straight up into the wall.
And the safer barrier also designed to try to reduce that impact and that the feeling that the driver has, because it absorbs some of this hit as well. We see the wall go almost a foot, maybe foot and a half back.
I used to have a bad habit of calling them soft walls because that was kind of the the nomenclature people would use, like, oh, it's a soft wall. And I had a driver remind me, he goes, I can assure you it's not soft. It is a safer barrier. I mean, you see right there, I mean, what is it, maybe 50% of the foam compressed? So it is a safer barrier to be safer, but it is by no means soft.
Yeah, Steve, that wall that you're looking at is steel tubing welded together. And then what's behind it, between the steel and the concrete, are foam blocks. So every one of those foam blocks is built to just give away. And the outside wall where it says Daytona, that's literally steel tubing. You can see it. They're about 8-inch by 8-inch square tubing. They're welded together, and all that stuff moves. And this has been an incredible technology that's come into the sport. There's a great look at the foam block. If those things deform enough, they'll have to go in and replace them and change them.
And it's not just the same at every track. It's even more complicated. There's more engineering than that, right? The amount of foam blocks, the distance, all kind of goes down to the speed of the track because, you know, what is required here for stiffness to keep a car at 170 miles an hour safe versus a 100-mile-an-hour racetrack takes a different designed, safer barrier. Now it's time for pit stops. You guys mentioned it under green. DJ mentioned it. We heard him during the red flag about everybody or most everyone took gas only. Now we might see some tires put on, Dave.
Kyle Busch was asked if he wanted anything different. He said, nope, all good. They're going to put on some Goodyear tires, at least right sides for Kyle. As for Keselowski, they don't have to do any more with that fire, so that put itself out, thankfully.
Dave, 3 Hendrick Motorsports cars finished in the top 6. William Byron said his car was absolutely plowing tight at the end of that run. You're going to see everyone here mostly take 4 tires and fuel. Chase Elliott, you see him putting that tape on that visor there, or the screen, to make sure he cannot see that. He works his way around the 34 car. 4 tires for Chase Elliott, and it looked like he got that screen covered the way he wanted, Steve.
Yeah, I agree, Marty. I was kind of watching it in the bottom right. It looked like a crew member put the tape in there and kind of put some on, and then Chase helped him. Let's take a look at it right here. Upper left, it's hard to see in the dark, but right up there used to be a mirror that was showing the rear view camera. Chase, a little button-up work of the tape, doing a nice job. A lot going on in the pit stop.
And away he goes. Restart happening when we come back. NBC Sports coverage of NASCAR is brought to you by Pods Moving and Storage, trusted with more than 6 million moves. And by Coke Zero Sugar. Is it the best Coke ever? Martin Truex Jr., it is now official. He has earned enough points that he has clinched the regular season championship. He did it in 2017, went on to win the championship that year. Can he do it again in 2023? Well, Martin Truex Jr., with that championship, that's going to be 15 playoff points that he will get for winning that regular season championship. That's equating to 3 race wins. So a big boost in the playoff points for Martin Truex Jr., and congratulations on winning the regular season championship. Drivers and cars involved in the wreck. Take a look at this. A long list. 16 cars are involved, as we're seeing a few more cars make their way onto pit road. To top off with fuel, Steve?
Yeah, Jeff talked about how they had to assist these cars in with the flat tires. You know, the damage is pretty clean on some of them. Actually, nice work on the 16. But laps down now. Denny Hamlin, 1 lap down. Harrison Burton, a couple. Austin Dillon, Kyle Larson, A.J. Allmendinger, multiple laps down. So still in the race, but they're going to need some good fortune and some yellows to kind of cycle back onto the lead lap.
And again, a situation where Bubba Wallace, he's the only driver that can get in on points now, but that is only if a new winner doesn't happen tonight. Another look at what happened to bring us under the yellow and then the red flag. Right up front, fighting for the stage win. The 12 of Ryan Blaney on the bottom, the 54 of Gibbs up top, comes down, hooks the 12, and into the wall they go.
Yeah, it's a big impact, obviously on the outside, but even on the inside, when all these guys start banging into each other, some cars just turn left and make major impact to the bottom.
And even if you get caught up in this, some of these cars will still have enough speed once they get patched up, and there may be some other opportunities later in this race to continue to improve their cars and get things fixed up to be able to be competitive. Maybe even win this race with the little Bear Bond strapped to the side of this thing.
Well, now 57 will be 56 to go with green flag. So very close to what we just saw, a little bit longer than that stage. So green flag pit stops could happen if we don't see a yellow.
And stage 3 is now underway. Briscoe, Almirola, as well as Kyle Busch up front.
Now, what would we see in this stage with all of those cars removed, all the potential winners removed, that removes a lot of energy and a lot of hustle out of this pack. Will they continue to be as intense as they've been? You got to think a lot of these people are seeing this as an opportunity for them to get up here and win this race. Well, now that they've thinned it out a little bit.
Yeah, 3 of them, Briscoe, Almirola, Eric Jones, in the front of this pack. All 3 of those guys need to win.
Alex Bowman in the 48 as well. Daniel Suarez in the 99. We could just go down the list here. You see on the left side, win and get in. All eligible for the playoffs if they could get to victory lane tonight.
And it's not a long way to get to the finish of this race. 55 to go. That can go by really quickly. As we remember last night in the Xfinity race, a 100-lapper happened just like that. And it was over. So you need to be thinking as a driver, as a crew chief, everything matters going forward. Every pass, you better battle for everything. Every inch on the racetrack, you don't lay over and give up nothing. All that track position you're fighting for, you need to keep it the rest of the race.
Kyle Busch trying to lead that outside line. Briscoe continuing that inside line with the momentum. Parker.
Right, as we see those 2 Stewart-Haas racing cars at the front of the field, which is where they started on the front row earlier today, and that team had a strategy that came to fruition in Stage 2. Both of those cars forgoed stage points into Stage 2, as most of the teams took fuel only. You saw the 14, the 10 take 4 tires and have long stops under green. Well, what did it do? It allowed them to have a 3-second stop under this last caution. That put them at the front of the field, and those 2 fast Fords in a must-win position now find themselves with all that track position, Marty.
Parker, the information to Bubba Wallace that Rick just told us a moment ago, that if there is no new winner, you will be in the playoffs, was just relayed before they went back green. Listen in.
So with that point deal, are we, it's a must-win for everybody else? Are we in that scenario?
What it is, Bubba, now, yeah, the only way you can get beat is somebody win. They can't outpoint you.
And after that, Booty Barker then told him, but do not let your guard down. There's a lot of drivers still on the lead lap, still in the mix, that could ruin that plan for us tonight.
Well, I think that means full offense. I think now if you're Bubba Wallace, what you need to do is go win. And that takes all that out of question. And if you wreck or whatever, so what? You're out. The points aren't going to knock you out, but I think now you got to go on offense.
Eric Almirola doing some good work there in second place, helping his teammate, Chase Briscoe. We saw this at the start of this race between these two. They were able to control that inside line for quite a few laps before the outside line started coming in there once the tires got so worn out after about 25 laps. So they've got some pretty committed people behind them. Eric Jones, I'm not sure about Brad Keselowski. If he sees that outside line moving forward, he might jump in front of it.
It's not unusual to see a new winner in this race. For the last summer races here at Daytona, have had winners for the first time in the season, in the last 5 races. So this is an opportunity. Statistics are on your side.
6 right now in the top 9 eligible for that playoff spot if they can find victory lane. There's Kyle Busch in the 8. He has been leading that high line. It has not been able to get up there and challenge Briscoe for the lead. A little bit loose there as that shove from Bowman almost disrupted the 8.
Yeah, that was a little bit of 8 moving around more than I think he wanted to, Rick. 23 up the racetrack just a little bit. Let's see this again. You pointed it out, Rick, through the tri-oval. Getting a little turn, getting a little push through the transition in the banking. So with what we saw in the wreck earlier and that right there, it tells me that this racetrack has gotten to the point to where it's so slick that pushing in the corners is now a bad thing. A little bit of help and a really tight draft through the corner can get your car out of shape. This track is aging quickly. Remember some drivers talking about how slick it was last night in qualifying as well. So the draft and what works in the draft is always changing. Even if the rules don't change, how you race this racetrack and what works and doesn't work changes every race.
And it also changes with the number of cars that are on the racetrack. So, you know, what worked earlier may not work now because you lost a certain amount of cars and you lost a few really good cars.
Yeah, some people lost teammates and dedicated helpers, it's going to really affect not only, their performance, but their mental approach, right? How aggressive they're willing to be, feeling like they don't have as much help out on the racetrack.
Comes a little bit more momentum on that high line. Now it's Bubba Wallace that's just in front of the 8 of Kyle Busch, and it seems as though Kyle Busch has been more effective pushing somebody to the front than leading that line to the front, and he's going to do it again here, it looks like, with Bubba.
Well, I love that Bubba Wallace jumped up to lead that outside line. We said it earlier a few minutes ago that now points don't matter for Bubba Wallace. It's just about winning this race. And now, Junior, you're almost freer. Now you know your mission. Now you know what you got to go do. And it almost takes some stress away from you. Now I just got to go win this race.
I like the way you said that, Jeff.
Well,
I just got to go win this race.
Well, it's no more points, right? So now you just focus. I cannot let a new guy win. If I win, that does it for me. But maybe I can help push a guy past a new winner to help someone else win as well, Marty.
So, Jeff, a little further back on that high line is William Byron, who is actually in front of his teammate Chase Elliott. So how can he help the 9? Listen in.
Just need a little more info on the gap. So I could try to push that 99 to the 48. They're all running 60% throttle. We got to be a good soldier. Keep motoring.
So, Jeff, we always think about being helpful to your teammate as pushing him, being behind him. How can you be helpful when you're in front of your teammate like William Byron is right now with Chase Elliott?
I think one thing you can do is you have to manage the gap between the guy in front of you. If you just run up to the guy in front of you, then Chase Elliott can't see that. You're looking at it. You cannot see what's going on. So you have to gradually get to that guy at this point with 47 to go. Now, when we get to 20 to go, 15 to go, 10 to go, then kind of all that goes out the window. But right now, you're just trying to be kind to your teammate, help him not be surprised by the closure rate.
47 laps remaining at Daytona and the regular season. Chase Briscoe, he could win his way into the playoffs if he can stay up front.
Advance? In Advance Auto Parts. I need that die-hard power. And the reliability and rugged durability, right? Yes. That's why diehards choose Die Hard.
And Advance Auto Parts is the home of Die Hard. We'll even install yours for free.
Hey. Abuela? She makes the best tamales.
This is how we advance.
Planning to move? Join the 6 million families who discovered a smarter, more flexible way to move with Pods. Save up to 30% now for a limited time, whether you're moving across town or across the country. Save up to 30% at pods.com today.
Nice footwork.
Man, you're lucky. Watching live sports never used to be this easy. Now you can stream all your games like it's nothing.
Yes! That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, here he comes. Go!
Running up and down that field looks tough.
It's a pitch.
Get way more into what you're into when you stream on the Xfinity 10G network.
If you've ever wished you could take buffalo chicken dip wherever you go, today's your lucky day, because Sonic stuffed it in a crispy portable bite. Now wish for something else, like more hands to hold your bites. Sonic $2.99 buffalo chicken dip bites.
Can't sleep.
Just a lot on my mind.
I can't sleep either.
It only gets tougher with age.
Mom, what?
Well, knowing Progressive can protect your home, auto, and business should help you relax.
Good, because I could use a good night's sleep.
Me too. You know how early a chimney sweep gets up every day?
Wait, is this all a dream?
Why would Jamie be in my dream?
I am America's biggest spokesperson.
Debatable.
I said biggest.
Well, he's got you there.
There's a buzz in the air at Kansas. Maybe it's the roar of fans here at the track, or the anticipation of the playoffs as drivers fight to move on to the next round and keep their championship hopes alive. Maybe it's the pulse of the heartland, the thrill of speed, or the sounds of grills sizzling in the campgrounds. Whatever it is, it will be one memorable weekend, and here sooner than you think. NASCAR Playoffs Weekend at Kansas Speedway. Get your tickets today at kansasspeedway.com.
She is a ninja prodigy.
I'm ready to become the youngest woman to hit a buzzer in Vegas.
History in the making.
Oh, man, I can't take this. She might have a shot.
A 2-hour Ninja Warrior, Monday on NBC.
Just 43 laps remain at Daytona. You're watching the NASCAR Cup Series Coke Zero Sugar 400. Out in front, Briscoe leading Almirola. Let's have a look at the Ruoff Mortgage keys to victory lane.
Yeah, who's going to help you? When it's time to go and you make a move, can you trust the guy behind you to go with you?
And you got to keep your nose clean. That means stay out of the wrecks. Don't put yourself in a bad situation where you're going to get your car tore up.
Well, and what's your agenda, right? We know that there are a group of cars that need to win. 14 of the 17 guys that entered needing to win to advance are still in the race. And while Truex has won the regular season, that's just the top of that leaderboard. There is a bunch of drivers throughout those standings that could move up or down with the finish of today's race.
And look what happened here in this top line. We've got all the Fords lined up right there. Briscoe, Almirola, Priest, Buescher, Harvick. And Priest and those guys worked a third groove from the back of the pack all the way around the top to finally find themselves up here in the top 5 with other Fords now helping their teammates as well. So look for the Fords now to take over this race at the front.
Up there against the wall they go, and yes, that's the 9 of Chase Elliott. Needs to win if he wants to continue the streak of making the playoffs. 7 seasons he's been able to do it. And it's in jeopardy tonight.
Chandler Smith in that 13 car was almost leading the race. And now he's back there. Fell way back to 10th. He's like, what happened? And that was just, you mentioned it, Junior, just that outside line. He did a great job. And there's Bubba Wallace. He tried to make the inside work, and it's not worked for him. And now there he goes to the back. Finally, here comes some help. Corey LaJoie with a big push.
Right here, the 13, Chandler Smith trying to push the 10, gets him uncomfortable. Almirola up the racetrack, and that's what sort of shook up this whole pack. And now, for whatever reason, everybody decided to run the middle and top of the racetrack, and now it's strung out. Everybody that was on the bottom was immediately in a bad spot and fading to the back of the pack, having to find a hole in this outside lane to get into before they drop to the rear of the pack. That happens at the flip of a switch, and you got to be ready for it. At any point during these races at Daytona and Talladega, when the field goes to the top, you better be going there with them, Parker.
Right, Dale, as we look at the Chandler Smith in that 13 car up front, you mentioned it, Jeff. He was up near the lead, had a shot at it, then got shuffled out towards the back. He told me earlier this year when he attempted to make the Daytona 500 in the duels, he goes, I learned more in that race than I did in all the Xfinity Series Super Speedway races I've done. He said it's unbelievable how good these drivers are in the Cup Series. And Jeff and Dale, you both know, when you go Super Speedway racing in the Cup Series, it's all the incredible moves they make lap after lap, just like that. When you're just near the lead, they can shuffle out back to the back end of the top 10 in just a lap. Another learning moment for Chandler Smith, who's doing a great job.
It happened so quickly that you almost have to go back and watch replays of it to figure out what happened when you're 21 years old. It's just hard to recognize how quick things happen and how good these race car drivers are. And they make moves, and it feels like they don't even think about it. You know, they just know to make a move. It's just a different level when you get here.
Short track racing at Richmond, where Chandler Smith finished 17th. And the 21-year-old from Talking Rock, Georgia, now impressing again here on the Super Speedway at Daytona. Let's go through the field, brought to you by eBay, and we'll start with 14 and Parker.
Right, as you see him leading once again like he was at the beginning of this race, Rick, watch how that 10 starts pushing him down the backstretch like they're doing now. That tandem, they have been working on this throughout the race from the start. The 14 getting all the information he can get about how that 10 is getting to him in the middle of the corner, timing that sort of run down the backstretch. They've been working on this. Both these cars in a must-win position. As you see there, the Eric Almirola in the 10 car pushing him. He's been working this because he's trying to figure out what he can do in terms of pushing that 10 as they get later in this race. Both these drivers have fast cars. they do strategy to stay up front, Marty.
Ryan Preece, the third Stewart-Haas car in line. Let's go back to how this race started for the 41 team. The power steering went out on the pace laps. They were able to fix that. He was all the way back in 38th after that happened. He has driven his way to the front, and if he wins, Dave, he would be in the playoffs.
Chris Buescher in the blue and white 17. He got a little piece of the big one, but it was just cosmetic damage. You see there on the left rear, the 17 still has enough car to win this race. Kevin Harvick in his final start at the Daytona International Speedway. A two-time winner here. Could he go out with a big win this evening? The car is still good. He's avoided trouble. He could do it. And right behind him, Brad Keselowski in the orange 6 car. Remember, both of his cars for Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing are in the playoffs, but he said that's not the goal. We're good with that. We're happy with that, but we can do more, and they want to definitely roll through the playoffs, Marty.
And Dave, remember the tape repair for Chase Elliott, getting rid of that mirror that was so distracting all night long. What did he think of that repair by his crew member? Listen in.
That was a really pretty tape job for that quick. Yeah, agreed. Looks good.
As you ride on board there with Chase Elliott, the Coke Zero onboard camera for him, you can see that black spot up there, that mirror, gone for Chase Elliott. The distraction is gone as well. And how about Ty Dillon, a terrific run tonight. He's up in the 8th position. And yes, he is one of those 17 cars, Rick, in the Gamebridge car that can make the playoffs if he finds his way to victory lane tonight.
14 of the 17 still running, and one of those being Ty Dillon. Ty Dillon up there in the top 8, but everybody chasing Briscoe.
We've come a long way in 125 years. From dirt tracks to super speedways and every track in between. Never backing down, pushing boundaries and giving it everything we've got. Yeah, we've come a long way, but there's still a lot more road to run. Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR.
There comes a time in every dip's life when it's ready to leave the slow cooker, even buffalo chicken dip. So we put juicy chicken, buffalo sauce, and melty cheese in a portable crispy golden shell. Runaway dip, you're free now. Sonic $2.99 buffalo chicken dip bites.
Nice footwork.
Man, you're lucky. Watching live sports never used to be this easy. Now you can stream all your games like it's nothing.
Yes! That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, here he comes. Go!
Running up and down that field looks tough.
It's a pitch.
Get way more into what you're into when you stream on the Xfinity 10G network.
Ashley's Labor Day sale is your last chance to save big on summer's top styles with 0% interest for 60 months. Shop Labor Day Hot Buys, all just $5.98 each. And featured finds starting at only $17 per month or $9.99.99. Only at Ashley.
Oh, I've been gone.
A big show is coming. We're ready to go racing. Time to bring the action. Go. Never give up, never give up. Newgarden wins back-to-back. Alex does it again. Around the outside for the lead. Here we go. This action-packed. Ready to go.
Audience, you ready? The pressure is on.
This has always been my dream.
You were magnificent. That is what a live performance is all about. You're going to be a superstar.
AGT Live, Tuesday and Wednesday on NBC.
Next Saturday, September 2nd on NBC and Peacock, the premiere of Big Ten Saturday night. First game, the Mountaineers of West Virginia visit the Penn State Nittany Lions. Riding along with Justin Haley and the Celsius onboard camera. Haley right now in the 22nd position, but still on the lead lap. There are 27 cars on the lead lap. First car a lap down is Denny Hamlin running 28th. Here is Big Move presented by Pods Moving and Storage. And we've got to focus in on the 9 of Chase Elliott. The big one happens, and look who gets through right here.
Yeah, he did an awesome job just slowing the car down. Guys got a lot of luck, obviously. But look, when the wreck started happening, he took advantage of the opportunity and the performance and the brakes these cars have to get woed down, didn't get ran over, missed all the carnage. Now he's sitting with an opportunity to win this race.
All right, so guys, this is single file, but this is still racing, and it's still a battle. But the battle right now is all about the final pit stop with 30 laps to go. Look at the telemetry on the right. Chase Briscoe leading, a lot of wide open throttle. Chase Elliott, part throttle, barely half throttle, running the same speed. Why? Why are these drivers doing this? Why are they not trying to pass? It's this simple. Everyone in the field must come to pit road. They all had the exact same amount of fuel. They were all on pit road around lap 101. A few exceptions with guys that topped off, but for the most part, lap 101. They'll all come to pit road for gas only. If you can run part throttle for almost an entire run, you could save 1.5 gallons to 2 gallons. You put in about 1.7 gallons a second. You could shorten your gas and go stop by a full second. That is mid-pack to the lead on a green flag cycle. Let's listen into the 9.
The way this is going here, I kind of lean towards no tires, or, you know, on the lesser end of it. What do you think? Yeah, that's how it's shaping out.
All right, let me tell you what that really is. That's Chase saying, hey, the car handling is this, and that's Alan very coy saying that's how it's shaping out, which is basically code word for there's zero chance you're getting tires on either side of this race car. Because if this happens under green, it will literally be a splash and go. And you know, a second just doesn't seem like much anymore, but they're going 200 miles an hour. That's a football field a second, Marty. So, you know, look back 100 yards, and that's how much gap you can save by having an efficient pit stop.
And look how much gas Chase Elliott is saving right now, Steve. The other thing, the dynamic is that it changes your pit plan as well. Booty Barker, Bubba Wallace is a little further back in 14th. Originally, the Toyotas wanted to pit together. One, there's one out of the race already, but two, he said, now we're going to pit with the 22. You kind of have to change your strategy, Steve, and pit with those around you, not necessarily your teammates or the manufacturer.
Well, let's remember the first cycle, Harrison Burton in the 21 ran long. It failed the eye test. Two cars running by themselves out here didn't make much sense, but they cycled to the front of the field and had a chance to win. This pit stop will be with maybe double digits laps, 10, 12, 14, 15 laps to go in this race. So if you cycle to the front, it will still be chaos. 2, 3 wide blocking runs. Don't think you're gonna be missing out on an amazing Daytona finish. But as we all know and we've all seen, I would much rather defend than have to worry about passing the guy in front of me.
Yeah, I do think this. I think like a big run right here being generated by the 9 car. He laid back a little bit. Let's see if he takes this run. He got a big push, but he's just going to sit there and ride behind him. But the problem, if I'm running in 18th, I need to get toward the front. I need to find a way to get toward the front before the pits happen. But if I hang a left right now, nobody's going to go with me.
No.
And so you're terrified to go and try to make and get toward the front at the moment because somebody's just not going to go, and then you'll go all the way to the back.
So, Jeff, you talk about communicating a plan. The one thing the 9 can do is ride, and figure out how to time this run. And then when I say we're 2 laps away, then take the run. Because if you go to the bottom and you gain 4 or 5 positions, right, Jeff, and a couple guys go with you, you don't have to stay there for 4 laps. 2 laps by, you're going to come to pit road, so you're kind of making that time. And I'm talking to the 77 saying, hey, when we turn left, you can't tie. I don't even want you to think about it. I want you to turn left with me. Because if you do it, maybe the car behind you will do it. And we could get 5 or 6. We could at least make it work for 3 or 4 miles.
And there's some drivers that can draw the field to go with them, and this is one of them. Chase Elliott, if he gets a big run and makes a left, they're going to go with him. Dale Jr., if you got a big run but you were driving, you hung a left, the whole field would go with you. I think Chase Elliott gets that same amount of respect.
Well, Chase has a couple Chevrolets behind him, as you see right there. One of them is his teammate is Kyle Larson. So I think when he makes the move, he's going to have some help.
Chase Briscoe out in front. You're right. When we see Chase Elliott make the left, he'll be like the Pied Piper. Everyone will follow him. We'll see what time he does it.
It's orientation day. Welcome to the team.
Who wants to race?
I like this team.
Be part of something greater. Toyota. Let's go places. Planning to move? Join the 6 million families who discovered a smarter, more flexible way to move with Pods. Save up to 30% now for a limited time, whether you're moving across town or across the country. Save up to 30% at pods.com today.
Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 is so good, the crew is giving every combination code names.
I got that sauce bisque and some Tay-Tays.
More formally known as sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes.
Bis squared.
Egg and cheese biscuit and sausage biscuit. 2 biscuits. I'm impressed Tyler knew what squaring was.
Cup of Dubba Java.
It's 2 coffees.
Cup of Dubba Java.
No matter what you call it, Wendy's breakfast is that breakfast. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new 2 for $3 Piggy Bundles.
That's my team out there.
If our network goes down, lives are at stake.
Our comms have to work.
Or the mission won't.
That's why we partner with Verizon Frontline, the network that truly prioritizes first responders.
So we don't worry about getting through. And they're the most reliable 5G network in America.
Out here, reliability is everything.
Extreme or routine, Verizon Frontline delivers.
The #1 network choice in public safety. Learn more. It's your mission. It's your Verizon.
Ray Magliozzi here. When you need parts, eBay Motors ensures a guaranteed fit. Hey, Dave.
Yep. Wait.
How are those new wipers?
They're small.
Just go to eBay Motors, where the check means a guaranteed fit. Let's ride.
NASCAR Fan Rewards is free to join. You can earn points by watching races, answering trivia, playing fantasy, buying race tickets, and more. Save your points. Trade them in for free tickets, autographed merchandise, exclusive gear. Visit NASCAR.com/fanrewards. Take a look at the Toyota driver update. 10th is Martin Truex Jr. 14th is Bubba Wallace. Again, Bubba, right now, unless there is a new winner, which Chase Briscoe could be, that one up in front, Bubba Wallace could get in on points. And right now, he's running in the 14th position.
Right on the bottom of the racetrack, though, you see the Trackhouse cars. Josh Berry's behind them. More cars are starting to dive into this bottom line. Trackhouse has decided we're not going to ride around and save fuel. We're going to change it up a little bit, try something different. So we're full throttle on the bottom. Who wants to go with us? Everybody out here on the outside line running half throttle, they're going to get past if the rest of this field doesn't get with it. You see all these drivers now going, yeah, I'm with this plan. I want to be full throttle. I want to go to the front. We'll worry about the fuel thing later.
Well, the crazy call would be to just pit. If you got that many cars, just pit. Come to pit road. You're not going to lose a lap. Leave and run wide open around the bottom. You will run faster than the guys that are up there breathing, saving gas. So that would also force the hand of the leaders if you don't think this is an option.
Second line is forming down by that double yellow line. Under 20 laps to go at Daytona. Still one spot remaining in the playoff field. Kyle Busch pushing Chandler Smith.
Here we go. Priest is going to jump down in there. Jump in front of that line, and I'm wondering why the rest of these cars don't do the same thing. Priest up the racetrack.
Chandler Smith pushed Priest into the corner, and Priest just could not keep his car there.
And he falls like a rock through the center.
So there you go. I'm going to make a move. I'm going to get aggressive. And look at the track position he lost because of it.
It gets right in the back bumper of the 41. The 41 just up the racetrack. So what will we see at the end of this race? If you can't push in the corner at all, that's a bit of a new development from what we've been seeing here at Daytona over the last several years.
The outside line still has the advantage. We know that pit stops are coming up any lap now. Chase Briscoe, Eric Almirola, 1 and 2, running that high line. Chris Buescher right behind him in the 17. The inside line starting to form, putting a little momentum behind themselves. 13 of Chandler Smith, Xfinity Series regular, out in front of this line.
Almirola pushing that 14 really aggressively down the back straightaway. So they may have changed their commitment to how much they want to save out front. You hear the Kyle Busch waiting on the throttle, lifting just ever so slightly so that he times the ability to push this 13 on the straightaway, on the flat.
And now are we seeing that outside line take over the inside line? So maybe they're thinking about pitting here soon.
Yeah, I did think it was interesting. They came to the bottom. You definitely don't want to get pinned on the second lane and be taken out of your pit window. Oh, I see a hand right there. Hand out the window. I think that was the 16 of Chandler Smith right there. Or excuse me, the 13. Hand out the window. Who's coming with them? How will they get onto pit road?
Again, so many times we see contact. Everybody trying to get on pit road. Let's see if they can do it cleanly.
Out of turn number 4, they'll head to the apron. And quite a few are coming. A large number of cars coming off the back. A little bit of tire smoke there from the back. And pit stops underway. Bubba Wallace on pit road now. Again, splash and go is what they're looking for, Marty.
With no new winner in a position to make the playoffs for the first time ever, Daniel Suarez on pit road as well. Fuel only for all these cars, Dave.
See Trackhouse Racing partners working there together. Chastain now coming off right in front of Daniel Suarez. Can he pull him back to the front, Parker?
It was just fuel only for Martin Truex Jr. A little squirrely getting onto pit road, but he'll join here right too wide with Erik Jones.
And they begin to blend back out onto the racetrack.
Bottom of your screen, next wave, how quick will they come? Will they run an extra lap? They're very organized. I don't hate this call right here. They say, listen, we're buttoned up, we're wide open, we're right on the bottom. This is all about a strategy of can we run faster than the other cars? Now they're going to have a little bit of tow with that car that just pulled off pit lane, Parker.
Right, and just a lap or two ago, they came on the radio and told Eric Almirola we have switched to Brady using a code word for those Stewart-Haas racing cars at the front. This meant getting together and going fast. You see the lap times right now really quick.
Oh, you know I love code words. You just made my head explode. I like just say go fast, but I do appreciate in this position leading the race trying to kind of hide their plan. So now right now you can see at the bottom or top right of your screen the 8 of Kyle Busch is not leading, but he is leading the pack that has pitted. The 14 is pack the leaders of the race. This is kind of like the Tour de France. We have the peloton and the chase. So the peloton right now is really the 14. The 8 is already pitted, right? They're trying to chase. They're trying to run faster. So you see the shove from the 1 to the 23 at the bottom of your screen. They got to stay in line, though, guys. This is the struggle. If you get too wide, you'll slow the whole pack down.
And you see the telemetry on Briscoe. Wondered if he was seeing full throttle out in front. Looked like he lifted a little bit exiting turn 2, wanting the 10 to get back to that back bumper to allow him to get the push. A lot of separation now, though, with these cars.
That group with the 14 ran 2 seconds faster than they were running around saving gas. So here it is. They all come to pit road. It is very simple. These guys, a splash and go. First car off versus the 8 car in the middle of 1 and 2.
No mistake. Very close there for Brad Keselowski. Dave.
He makes it to his pit stall, gets in with the orange number 6. He's got the gas in the car, and he goes. Marty.
Chase Elliott asks once again, anyone taking tires here? You can tell he's struggling with the handling on the 9 a little bit. 2 seconds of fuel, that's all they need, Parker.
Right, this could be the most important pit stops for Chase Briscoe and Eric Almirola leading the field down. It's a slower one for Eric and Chase as they're beat off pit road.
Now they need to get organized, even up through the gears. The draft matters. Kevin Harvick leads the group. Right behind him, the must-win of Chase Elliott. Top of your screen, the pack that is already pitted with Kyle Busch and the 8 leading. Where will they blend? Where will the momentum be picked up? I think the lead pack of Kevin Harvick, they did what they needed to do. They ran so fast, 2 seconds faster a lap for 2 laps Could Kevin Harvick win in his final run at Daytona, or will Chase Elliott right there in second find his way into the playoffs?
The train is coming. Under 13 laps to go. Harvick out in front. They've got to pick the speed up right now, only 180 miles an hour. That train getting some momentum.
They're going to get there, but I don't think they're going to be able to pass many of them. Incredible job for this group right here out front to have such a big advantage on this group.
And it's so hard to make that call for your own car, Dale, but how do they orchestrate a variety of makes, models, teams? Great communication.
Kevin Harvick, he's won at Daytona before. He's won the Daytona 500, and now looking to win in his final season.
Nice footwork.
Man, you're lucky. Watching live sports never used to be this easy. Now you can stream all your games like it's nothing.
Yes! That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, here he comes. Go!
Running up and down that field looks tough.
It's a pitch.
Get way more into what you're into when you stream on the Xfinity 10G network.
Ashley's Labor Day mattress sale is going on now. Get 0% interest for 60 months on in-store mattress purchases. Save up to $700 on select Tempur-Pedic adjustable base sets, or up to $900 on select Purple and Beautyrest Black adjustable base sets. Only at Ashley.
Yeah, everything's taken care of.
Hey, Jamie. Oh, what am I up to? Just visiting a special secret client. I can't say who it is, but let's just say she bundled her dream house and her dream car for round-the-clock protection with Progressive. She has another house in Malibu. She's been an astronaut, an architect, a CEO.
We're in front of her house, Dave.
Well, I'd love to tell you who her boyfriend is, but I don't think I can. I'd love to tell you, but I don't think I can.
Barbie, in theaters now.
If you've ever wished you could take buffalo chicken dip wherever you go, today's your lucky day, because Sonic stuffed it in a crispy portable bite. Now wish for something else, like more hands to hold your bites. Sonic $2.99 Buffalo Chicken Dip Bites.
Advance? In Advance Auto Parts. I need that die-hard power. And the reliability and rugged durability, right? Yes. That's why diehards choose Die Hard.
And Advance Auto Parts is the home of Die Hard. We'll even install yours for free.
Hey. Abuela? She makes the best tamales.
This is how we advance.
The second pack has caught the first pack. Now with that momentum, they're too wide. Who can get to the front and challenge Kevin Harvick for the win here at Daytona?
The 48 and the 24, William Byron Bowman jumped in front of Kyle Busch. Now they are leading that outside line. Everybody's going to try to get up there and block it. Brad Keselowski, nobody wants to go to the third lane, though. You see that? Briscoe got shipped to the back. In that third lane, nobody's willing to go out there. Now, the two Fords, teammates, Brad Keselowski, the 17. Christopher Buescher right there getting the push from his teammate Brad. Here they come. Almirola jumps in front of that lane. Chase does not just yet.
Ford's working together on the outside. Here comes the 10 of Eric Almirola. Up to the top. Kyle Busch goes to block. Excuse me, Kevin Harvick goes to block.
So Kevin jumps in front of his teammate. That opens the bottom up for the Chevrolets. Chase is like, gosh, come on, give me the push. Get me up there. He can get up alongside this 4-car.
Kyle Larson's 2 laps down, but he's going to hang in here to try to help Chase Elliott.
The bump draft there. Now, Elliott with some momentum. Looking to the inside of Almirola. He moves up to second. Harvick, which line will he stay in? He stays up high.
It's game on now with 8 to go. You're going to see a lot of blocking, a lot of pushing, a lot of shoving.
7 laps remaining at Daytona. If Kevin Harvick is able to win, that means that points will allow Bubba Wallace to make it into the playoffs. But Chase Elliott, a driver who had a snowboarding accident, broke his leg earlier in the year, missed 6 races, then was penalized, had to miss another race, a 7th race. So far back, he can't get in on points. He has to win if he wants to be a part of the playoffs.
Big push right here, Rick. He's to the inside.
Here comes the 9 of Elliott, and listen to the crowd here at Daytona.
That outside should have the momentum off of turn 4. You see them going back by Chase Elliott. Nothing he can do there to try to slow down the 4-car of Harvick. He has to just sit there. He has to just sit there and wait for the help, wait for the push from the 5 again. They go back to work.
Under 6 laps to go. That outside line pulling away again. Harvick with the help of 2 more Fords, 3 more Fords behind him.
Almirola's in a great position right here in second place. Remember, he has to win this race, and if he does, he gets into the playoffs. 17 making a move with Buescher. You know his teammate's going to go with him. Brad K pushing him.
What a move.
And now Harvick to the bottom of the racetrack to block.
And that puts
Brad's up the racetrack a little bit right there. The handling on the 6-car not good off of turn 4. He slides up the racetrack.
Once again, Chase Elliott leading that inside line.
Kevin Harvick, he's looking in the mirror more than he's looking out the front windshield. You got to pay attention to what's going on behind you. Do not get a big run and get ahead of them too far.
3 Fords have separated themselves. A big push coming now for Harvick. And around goes a couple cars. Preece upside down. He's barrel rolling through the grass. Ryan Preece upside down in the infield. Caution has come out. He's on his wheels. There was fire off the left side of the car. A huge barrel roll for Preece and the AMR safety crew there to him.
It's been a long time since we've seen a car get up in the air like that.
Think back to Elliott Sadler.
Usually these cars are, with all the mechanisms, roof flaps and everything else, they need help to sort of get hit in a certain way, oddly to be lifted off the ground.
The medical team down there attending to Ryan.
Inside of 5 to go here. The Daytona Coke Zero Sugar 400, 160 laps make up the regulation difference. And we are watching as you are. NASCAR TV, the horrific crash on the back straightaway involving Ryan Preece, one of the drivers who came into the Coke Zero Sugar.
Looks like Preece
See him with his helmet off, coming out of the car. That's Ryan standing there in the middle of the AMR safety team. Take another look at how this happened.
So going down the back straightaway, he makes a move or gets help from behind, and the car goes into the infield. Air, it just lifts right up off the ground. Violent wreck. Gets a push from the 43 car, and it's airborne. I mean, I thought that maybe it hit, you know, the road course or some curbing or something on the road course, the kink. It lifted that car, but it was just traveling so fast.
It happened right when it got in the grass. As soon as it got in the grass, that's when it started to lift. And then this is just violent. I mean, look at this car. That is just amazing that something that weighs over 3,500 pounds can get in the air like that.
It looks like a toy car flying through the air. But as you mentioned, Jeff, 3,500 pounds. Such a violent accident for Ryan Preece. Thankfully lands on the wheels and then was able to climb out of that race car and will get checked out in the infield care center.
Look how fast. As soon as that contact happens, he just hangs a left.
And you said it, Jeff. As soon as the car touches the grass, something about that gap or the air or something changes, and up in the air it goes right away.
That is so scary.
Remember, these cars are traveling at over 190 miles an hour.
We've seen barrel rolls, but when it climbs into the air, I mean, even right there, multiple flips.
10.
Every
10
time
flips.
it leaves the ground.
All the dirt and everything that gets inside that car. It's just wild how fast that car was sideways and in position to get airborne.
It's just terrifying, you know?
This was common, though. I mean, years ago, 15, 20 years ago, these were the type of wrecks we expected to see at Daytona and Talladega. And NASCAR has changed a lot of things about these cars to try to keep them on the ground. And for the most part, unless the cars find themselves in these odd situations, it works. That right there looked exactly like what we would see in 1985, in 1990, 1995, the way this car went up in the air and barrel rolled down the back straightaway.
Well, I know wife Heather is watching. They just welcomed Rebecca Marie to their family August 7th. As I mentioned, Ryan Preece climbed out of the car. They put him on a stretcher. You see him lying down. They'll go to the infield care center. He'll get checked out, and we will keep you updated on Ryan Preece's situation. What a ride Ryan Preece had. Is again, they'll take him to the infield care center here at Daytona.
There's his teammate Chase Briscoe involved in the crash as well. Out of the race, out of his car.
And what a night. Briscoe led 67 laps here.
Yeah, there's so much intensity out there on the racetrack about trying to win this race, get yourself in the playoffs, and every driver in the field right now has switched gears into just thinking about Ryan Preece. They've seen his car on the back straightaway. There's big screens around the racetrack. You look at it, you actually see the replay, and immediately you're concerned for the guy that you were just trying to beat to win this race. Now your concern goes to him, and your brain shifts into making sure he's okay.
And then you got to refocus with 4 laps to go.
It's going to be overtime, guys.
Yeah.
So it will be a sprint to the finish. Kevin Harvick is out front. Buescher, Keselowski, Chase Elliott, Almirola, Bowman, Logano, Byron, Busch, Ty Dillon, all a part of the top 10. What line do you choose now for the restart? And does it matter who's behind you?
It matters a great deal who's behind you, and that's part of the decision that you have to make is when I line up, where is that going to put everybody else? You see Buescher, Keselowski, we know they're teammates. I would be shocked if wherever Buescher goes, Keselowski doesn't go with him. And then that would line up Elliott behind Harvick.
And you have Elliott, Almirola, and Bowman wanting to win this race, try to get themselves into the playoffs. Several other drivers back there behind them in that same scenario. They won't be choosing to help anyone, right? They want to put themselves in position to try to win this race. Now, it can be won off of turn 4. You can push the car in front of you, try to make that move at the very last minute off of turn 4 and win this race at the flag stand.
There's the 41 of Preece. He'll be taken back into the garage, and I'm sure NASCAR is going to take that car back to the R&D center and just find out everything that was stressed through that just horrific crash.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's going to be definitely looked over by NASCAR and the team. So here it is, choose time, Harvick bottom, Buescher top. As the driver said, Brad follows the 17 of Buescher. Chase the bottom behind Harvick. And look at the faces on the left. Buescher in the playoffs with wins. Harvick in the playoffs on points. He's locked in, but he has yet to win this year. Brad has yet to win in his own equipment. Chase Elliott, NASCAR's most popular driver, trying to not miss the playoffs. 7 years he has been in the playoffs. This would be the first time. Allen, his crew chief, on top of the box. And then the row behind them, it's Almirola in a must-win, Bowman in a must-win. If you're Alex Bowman lined up behind your teammate Chase Elliott with your teammate William Byron behind, how long can you be patient? Drivers, right? I know you want to push, you want to get the 9 out there, but Bowman needs a win as well. If he pushes the 9 across the line, Bowman eliminates himself from making the playoffs.
So they're 2 by 2 with Kevin Harvick out front. Buescher will be beside him. We're going to continue to give you updates as we get them on Ryan Preece. Again, he was taken to the infield care center. We will check in with him as soon as we get an update as we're getting ready for overtime here, presented by Credit One Bank.
And Dale, you said it. I mean, even the crowd went a little silent with that unbelievable accident. Now these drivers have to pull the belts tight and go put themselves in that same exact risk of position.
Yeah, you got to go right back up to the chip. You go from the chip to 0 and then back to the chip again. Not everybody's good at that. Not everybody can do that.
But everybody does know what's on the line here. A berth in the playoffs, a shot to win a championship. Overtime, it'll be 2 laps. If they get back to the white flag, it will be the next flag that ends the race. But they've got to go a complete lap. Green flag back in the air. Harvick on the inside, Buescher on the outside.
Remember, no rules for locking bumpers, but these cars have been very uncomfortable pushing through the corner, but I think we're going to see it anyways here in these last 2 laps.
That outside line, big push from Brad Keselowski. Brad Keselowski, 7 super speedway wins. Wow, a little bit of contact with the 4.
Harvick up there and caught the left rear quarter panel.
Logano was trying really hard to get to the outside. Couldn't make it work.
RFK Racing, 1 and 2 now. Buescher with Brad Keselowski behind him. Coming out of 4.
Harvick to the inside now. He's got some help still. Chase Elliott back there. Can he get to the bumper?
There's the white flag. 1 more to go.
Huge push on the outside from the 6. 3 cars in tandem.
Now, will the bumper stay locked? The 6 of Brad Keselowski trying to push that 17. Here comes Harvick in the 4.
Big push from the 10. He stays committed to the 6 down the back straightaway.
Elliott pushing the 4. Buescher and Keselowski. Now, which line will they take through 3 and 4 for the final time? Buescher separates a car length between he and Keselowski.
Brad's got no help. I don't think he gets back there to the 17.
As they come to the tri-oval, Buescher's going to win at Daytona. And with that, Bubba Wallace is locked into the playoffs on points.
Oh, man. Way to go. Nice job, Herb.
3 wins already this year.
Nice job.
For Chris Buescher, the resurgence of RFK.
3 wins Steve, all in the last 5 races, by the way. So coming into the playoffs, they are hot.
And you can hear, I thought that was Brad Keselowski. He was as happy as if he'd won the race. That was pretty cool, hearing Brad's excitement.
Awesome job, awesome.
There he is again, the owner. You know, he'd love to win these races, but he's so thrilled with what this program's been able to do. And to be able to be the one helping, right, his own car. It's
9
incredible.
years. It's been 9 years since Roush Fenway has seen a 1-2 finish back in 2014. And tonight it happens with Chris Buescher and Brad Keselowski finishing 1-2. What a night as fireworks on the backside of Lake Lloyd here at Daytona. The fireworks were on the track throughout this race. Three Fords finishing 1, 2, 3 with Buescher, Keselowski, and Almirola. This checkered flag moment brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. Chris Buescher, for the first time in his career, has won on a super speedway. What a season he has put together already as the regular season comes to a close. And you guys mentioned it, the momentum definitely on the side of RFK with Chris Buescher behind the wheel.
I've talked to some of the crew members that have been part of this program since before Brad became a part owner in this team, and they can't stress how much different it is, how much the culture has changed.
Marty.
Chris Buescher climbs out a winner at Daytona. And the dream season for Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing continues. Rick, you mentioned it. 3 wins in the last 5 races. Who saw this coming to close out the regular season? The pride of Prosper, Texas, getting some hugs from the crew. He was actually a little emotional on the radio at the end, thanking everybody. Crew Chief Scott Graves coming in. Hey, Chris, walk me through that overtime finish. I think you owe the boss a little thank you card, don't you?
Well, a little more than that. That was amazing. So proud to get Fifth Third back into victory lane here in Daytona. Knew we were coming here with fast RFK Ford Mustangs, and got there at the end and showed it when it counted. And I don't know, that's as much Brad's win as ours right there. That was the right help, aggressive, sticking with us too, all the way to the line. I was waiting for him to do something there coming to the finish. I figured we'd be side by side, but looked like it stalled out a little behind there. So just so thankful to Brad for all those pushes there at the right time, and found each other a little bit here and there through the race, kind of lost each other and got back going when it counted.
So walk me through the last few weeks for this race team. What has it been like inside the walls at RFK with all this success and 3 wins for you?
That's hard to explain. It's awesome, though, to be sitting here again so quickly. What a heck of a start into the playoffs right now. You know, it's been a long time coming, a lot of work, and my wife's here. My wife's here for a win, so we finally got at it, so she gets to come to more. But no, just so amazing for us. This team did such a fantastic job, and got some damage, got it fixed, got back going, and just started finding our way.
And to do it in front of the Daytona fans, Chris Buescher closes out the regular season with a win. They flew under the radar for much of the year, Parker. No more. The 17 team is on the scene and certainly a championship threat.
And with a 4th place finish here at Daytona, Chase Elliott will not make the 2023 playoffs. What more do you need in those final laps in terms of pushes to be able to go fight for the win?
Yeah, I really liked where we were before the caution. And honestly, after the restart there, we had the bottom lane that we wanted. I knew the 6 was going to go at the 17, and I thought the 4 was going to take the bottom, and they did, and we really had all the help that we could ask for behind. I just I couldn't stay locked on to Kevin like I needed to surge the bottom lane forward, and Brad and Christopher there just had a good enough hold on that top lane, and they could kind of control each of them. But yeah, it's a bummer, for sure. Hate the season's worked out like it has, but the good news is the car got in the owner's point, so that's a big deal. And credit to Alan and everybody for continuing to work and scratch and claw while I was out to keep our team alive and to give ourselves a chance. So that's a big deal. Probably much bigger than a lot of people realize to our team. So looking forward to these next 10 and, try to make a little noise on that side of things and just try to get ready and prepared for next year. But I appreciate everybody's support, through this season. It hasn't been what I would want by any means, but certainly going to be some lessons taken from it, and I think we'll be better for it on the other end.
Valiant effort and a lot learned, Marty, for Chase Elliott and this 9 team.
Parker, let me be the first to welcome Bubba Wallace to the 2023 playoffs. What were the emotions like for you before the race and during the race today?
That was the most stress, but also the most locked in that I've ever been. Knowing that this place is mostly out of your control, I just try to focus on doing the things that I could do. Missing that wreck was massive. Appreciate Freddie. He's one of the best up on the roof and gets us through a lot, and that's what helps our resume here at the Speedway stuff. So proud to be locked in the playoffs. This is special for our team. 23-11, 3rd year in, getting both cars in the playoffs. We've gone through a lot of trials and tribulations, but just so proud of the effort that we put in. No matter how much we set ourselves back, we know that we have a kick-ass group and we can bounce back from anything. So appreciate all of our partners, Toyota, Columbia, Luke Combs coming on for this scheme. I know I had a lot of Luke Combs fans out here in Daytona. So my wife, she puts up with me during the stressful times, and I just totally wasn't myself. So sorry, babe. I was focused and just trying to get us in and pay for this house that you want. So
well, he can do that now for the first time ever. Bubba Wallace, 23-11, and the 23 team will be a player in the playoffs, Rick.
And Chris Buescher, or Christopher, depends on who you're talking to. Chris Buescher headed to the Ruoff Mortgage Victory Lane. See the car already there. That's some of the most coveted land right here at Daytona International Speedway. More with the winning team and drivers when we return to Daytona. The NASCAR America Post-Race Show presented by Progressive. And let's look at the playoff standings. Now, with the regular season complete, you have McDowell, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Kevin Harvick, Bubba Wallace. And those 4 drivers, the bottom 4, if you're going to look at it that way, but all 16 locked into this playoffs.
All right, so they're in red because technically 4 aren't going to make it through round 1. If I was one of those drivers, I'd say, man, could we wait till Monday before you put me in red? The 16 have advanced. You see their totals. Everyone goes to 2,000. What's added in is those playoff points. You get it for winning stages. You get them for winning races. And you're where you end up in the regular season standings. It was a stressful week and a stressful race for Bubba Wallace. You could hear it in his interview. But in the end, I think it's really the last 3 or 4 weeks what we've seen out of that driver. His calmness on the radio, some leadership, the things that he has been questioned for in the past, it's shown through, and I think that's why Bubba Wallace is in the playoffs.
Yeah, Bubba Wallace, very emotional. We know that a lot of people out there are wondering about Ryan Preece. We're going to give you updates as soon as we get them. I'll bring in our drivers and throw this question at you. With Chris Buescher's success over the last 5 races, is now he maybe the favorite for this championship with so much momentum entering the playoffs?
Well, I think he can certainly spoil somebody's party. That's what they've done, by winning these races. They've really surprised a lot of people in the industry, certainly in the Ford camp. They are making a claim as the top Ford team in NASCAR as it is. So pretty incredible to see what they've been able to do. And Daytona, for me, was Daytona of old. Slick, hard to handle, all weekend long. The Xfinity race, the Cup race, the cars were tough to drive. But the drivers gave us everything they had tonight. We had a little bit of fuel mileage where they were running around the top of the racetrack, Jeff, but they really duked it out from the drop of the green flag, and we had a pretty spectacular race.
Yeah, a three-wide race, and we saw for lap after lap after lap. You knew eventually that wasn't going to work out. It was going to be a caution. The big Ryan Preece wreck, obviously, we all hope he's okay. Tonight was just crazy. I mean, intense racing. And now we go to Darlington. We leave Daytona, one of the most historic racetracks in the world. We go to Darlington, also one of the most historic. And the playoffs, so many things are going on. Who the favorite is, that's a tough call. I still got to say William Byron. He's shown it to me all year long on every kind of racetrack. I still think going into these playoffs, he's the guy.
And Marty's caught up with the regular season champion.
Yeah, Rick, you mentioned it, the regular season championship for Martin Truex Jr. The trophy is pretty awesome, but I'm pretty sure you're more excited about the 15 playoff bonus points that come with this, correct?
Well, I mean, yeah, the trophy is really cool, but we're focused on a championship again this year. That feels really good. So really awesome to get those bonus points, and just really proud of my team. Everybody on our team, everybody at JGR, TRD, Bass Pro, Auto Owners, Reesers, all of our partners, just giving us the opportunity to be here and be able to have a season like we've had. Hopefully we can just, keep it going. It was a little frustrating not be able to really race tonight after Denny kind of got in that situation and we had already got the stage win. That was kind of a bummer, but, all in all, big picture was the right thing to do. So hopefully we put together 10 great races and do what we did in 2017 again.
Yeah, you got to celebrate with this trophy a little bit tonight, but you mentioned 2017. How well-positioned is the 19 team to do that once again and win your second championship?
I feel as good as ever. I mean, I feel like our team is really strong. I feel like we can be strong anywhere we go, and a lot of the playoff tracks seem to line up good for us, always have. So yeah, we're optimistic, we're hungry, we're excited, and fired up, ready to get going.
All right, Martin Truex Jr., he mentions how well those tracks line up for him. Darlington, one of his best racetracks, and what does that have? Where's that, Rick? First race of the playoffs.
Yes, first race of the playoffs, Darlington. Martin Truex Jr. with the regular season championship trophy. Ryan Preece, the most spectacular accident of the night. 10 barrel rolls for the 41. He's in the infield care center. We'll give you updates as soon as we get them on his condition. NASCAR America Post Race is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Save when you bundle auto, home, or motorcycle insurance. Visit progressive.com. We're on NBC and Peacock until the top of the hour, 11 o'clock, and then there'll be extended post-race coverage on Peacock after that. The celebration will continue for Chris Buescher, who has just won his third race of the season. You see team owner there, Brad Keselowski, coming down to congratulate Chris Buescher. And for more on Ryan Preece, we're going to get an update from Dave Burns.
And Rick, there's not a lot to tell right now. NASCAR has just informed us that Ryan Preece has been transported to a local medical center. No other information than that. We did talk to Chase Briscoe momentarily. He's okay and spoke to us about the incident, but Ryan Preece has been transported from here, and that is all the information we have.
Thanks, Dave. And again, as soon as we get more information, we will be passing that along to you. But from NASCAR, Ryan Preece has been transported to a local hospital here for more evaluation. A very violent crash that we saw, barrel rolling through the infield. There's Chris Buescher and family celebrating in Victory Lane. And we've talked about the playoffs begin next week in Darlington. One driver who got in on points earlier is Kevin Harvick. He's standing by with Parker.
Kevin Harvick had it up front all night here tonight at Daytona, but now you'll be entering the playoffs. What do you expect from this Ford team here?
I have no idea. You know, I really don't. So we'll just go race every week and see what happens.
What's struggling with?
What's that?
What are you guys struggling with not understanding what you have in the playoffs?
I don't want to predict anything.
All right. Ford team going into the playoffs with unpredictable nature.
He had a smile on his face, but as you mentioned, doesn't want to make any predictions in this, his final playoffs.
Yeah, you know, we've seen that Kevin Harvick before, right? I think, what is he going to say, right? They're winless this year. They're in the playoffs. They are fast enough and good enough to score enough points. But once again, close tonight, no win. Kevin Harvick is a champ. He's not going to stand there and make, you know, false predictions if he doesn't believe it. You know, I think you saw that's honest, Kevin Harvick, whether you like that or not. That's Kevin saying he really doesn't know. If the cars are fast enough, they're going to be better, and if they're not fast enough, they have a hard time advancing.
I think that guy's still processing tonight's race. He worked really hard all night long, pushed as hard as I believe I've ever seen Kevin Harvick push in a long time at Daytona or Talladega. Came up just a little bit short.
Let's go down to the Peacock pit box and Marty.
Well, Marty's not here, Dale.
We're
going to go to Dale.
We've all got a lot to talk about with this, but guys, let's go back to, when this car was built, we talked about the safety issues, the things that were changed from last year, but that was one of the most violent crashes. Dale Jr. talked about, go back to the 80s and 90s, KP, and we were there through a lot of that ourselves, and just hope that he's okay first and foremost, but a situation like that, there's not much you can do but hang on for as a driver.
There's nothing you can do as a driver, and you know that. We've been in these cars, and we saw it earlier in the evening when Ryan Blaney, when that car turns that fast, you're just along for the ride. We go back to 81, John Anderson, when we first went to the small, short cars. We go back to Rusty Wallace in 83, when he had his own car, 72. This wreck was violent. But let me say, and I've looked on Twitter and say, people are like, we're stunned. We shouldn't be stunned. You strap into a stock car that's going to run close to 200 miles an hour. We've seen it with with Ryan Newman. It stunned us. We saw it with Austin Dillon. It stunned us. It shouldn't be. That's the nature. That's why what these guys do is so incredibly special. You see him right here. As he hits the grass, the car lifts up. And then he is just a passenger at this point in time, Brett.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You know what the remarkable thing is, as we watch this car get into the air and pirouette through the air, it's a 3,300-pound piece of equipment. Look at it. It's 3 times it oscillates over and over. But look at all the pieces and parts on this race car. They're not flying everywhere. Yeah. They are still connected to that race car. So give NASCAR a ton of credit for creating these straps that keep these pieces and parts on this race car as it does this just scary barrel roll.
As we look at this, and I think sometimes we talk about the safety initiatives that have been done. We talk about the safer barriers. We talk about everything inside these cars, the Hans device, how their seats are so much better. The everything is better inside the race cars. But I think that maybe sometimes we give a false sense of security to people that, hey, the cars are so safe that things can't happen. But when they get this violent, you have to understand that this is not something that you expect to happen, but you hope that you've prepared for it, and the cars are
exactly. There's somebody sitting on a couch in Seattle, and they watch these races all the time. In Texas, they watch these races, and they see guys wreck and walk away, and that's how. And all of a sudden, we see this, and that's why I say we shouldn't be stunned. This is that's what motorsports is. It's a dangerous profession. And you were very blessed. I was very blessed. You were very blessed to participate in it and be here to talk about it today. But we all know that there are drivers that aren't here to talk about it. And that's the gamble, or not the gamble. That is the calculated risk you take as a stock car driver, as a race car driver, anything that we do. And NASCAR, you depend on that sanctioning body, and you mentioned it. NASCAR has done a tremendous job of building this car, reevaluating this car, and continuing to improve it.
Well, Rick, like I know you guys are too, we're all wishing for the best for Ryan Preece, but we'll let it go back to you guys.
Thanks, DJ. All right, guys, we expected the regular season finale to be exceptional, and I don't think it disappointed with how this one ended.
Not at all. Thrilling race from start to finish. Typically, we see the drivers take it a little bit easy in stage one. Not tonight. A lot on the line, and a lot on the line for different reasons. So when the green flag came out, we had a hectic race, and it was it's tough mentally and physically. These are very challenging races. Drivers really gave it everything they had.
Yeah, we take for granted what these drivers do, how willing they are to do it, and it's amazing, and we're lucky to be able to watch it.
Yeah, after seeing tonight, I can't imagine what the next 10 weeks are going to hold for us.
There's more NASCAR and motorsports coverage always available on NBCSports.com. We will keep you abreast as to the condition of Ryan Preece when we get that information. Coming up next on NBC, local news except on the West Coast, and we'll continue our post-race coverage on Peacock.